Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Purge Esports third roster deciding match. My name is Ancient Angel. Here with me is Nerd's Corner, and we are going to be taking you through a whole best of 5 today to determine which team, in terms of Purge Esports, will be staying under the organization and which roster will be leaving.
Honestly, when I learned about the stakes of this, at first I was like, in a best of 5, the stakes are, who's going to get the money? Who's going to get the glory? This one feels interesting because it's really similar in a sense.
Yeah.
Who's going to be signed? Who's going to stay on as the, secondary roster? Who's going to be there? And who's going to get the boot? So in my mind, I'm out here like, okay, this is all, curious. Oh, I think I've become a robot. I have become a robot here. Unfortunate.
Yeah. One frame per sometimes. So as Nerds hopefully catches back up to speed with us, I'm going to bring you, the audience, up to speed with what's going on in this sort of Purge Esports playoffs. As we mentioned, loser gonna get dropped from Purge Esports, which is insanely scary. The stakes could never be higher, and we do have map picks ready. So hopefully we're going to be able to jump into this veto at any moment. And let's just talk our way through this. We can see it's, a weird kind of mix match of that map pool, right? Lotus being our first map, so Pearl's not in yet. Haven as map number 2. Split going to be our map number 3. And then Bind and Sunset. I think, actually, no, this is just supposed to be the old map pool. I think Split is meant to be Ascent there.
I mean, that I was gonna say, I feel like it would make more sense if they have Lotus in to make this the old map pool.
Yeah.
But all in all, I'm kind of relieved that they're playing on the old map pool just because of the fact that I like this map pool a little bit. Having 2 3-site maps can showcase some of the differences within the team and the roster. So it should allow for maybe one team to win on Lotus, and then that same team that won on Lotus loses on Haven, and it brings up questions as well. Because here's the thing, this is a fight for who's going to be, signed to this org, but also it is a fight to see which team kind of has the better edge overall, which team is better and more well-rounded than the other.
And that's the other big talking point here, is the fact that these two teams have both gone through like a significant amount of time as a roster and have really started to form their own identities. So when you look at this roster of Navy, that's true. That is typically how rosters work. They do bond. But when you're talking about, like, for example, Void, which I think people who have been following these teams for a while, I think between these two, you would probably want to consider Void to be the underdog within this series. You're going to have to see a lot of really solid play from players like Maxi, from players like Julachan. You would want to see Benno have also like a pretty solid performance on that more supportive kind of role. And then on the side of Purge, this is the roster that I think, just when you look at the numbers, when you look at the rankings, when you look at the overall firepower that they have, I think it would make more sense for Navy Purge to be considerably better. Are you crunching them in?
I was looking at them.
Okay.
Considerably better?
Listen, I think so. I think, right, you have players like Tobix, you have players like Foxes, Amura as well, all kind of rotating around who gets to be that like star duelist, and then, who picks up some more supporting roles. So it's going to be quite interesting to see who within this series can actually step up from the side of Navy to match, or not Navy, from Void to match Navy. There we go.
Void to Navy. And honestly, if I looked into the Void and I saw Navy come out of there, I'd be freaking out. But one thing that I'm interested in is, again, a thing that I mentioned, looking at the first 3 map picks that we're guaranteed to see, they definitely provide a well-rounded story for us to kind of, talk about. I'm excited that we're starting off on Lotus, because all in all, not only is it going to be, getting the boot out of the map pool, just like one of these teams might be, or most likely is, if they lose, you kind of, play Lotus entirely differently than you do Haven. The executes have been, consistently different. Now, you can kind of have some similarities where Breach, Neon work similarly on both maps, but the style in which you execute into space and maintain it is generally different.
Yeah, it also has to do with kind of how split hitting a site works on Haven, whereas on Lotus that is significantly more difficult. So with Haven, right, you're playing a rotation game to try and make it so that way the site that you want to hit is as weak of a site as possible. But it's okay if there's still a player who's anchoring that site on Haven. On Lotus, however, you really do have to make sure that you are at the very least rotating people into positions where, or manipulating those rotations to where either the one player who's technically on the site is like already on their way out, or there's no one on the site. Because more often than not, you're going to be hitting a site with only one path of entry. So you're not really going to be able to split a site. Really, the only site you can do that with is A, and that is the site that teams will more often than not leave completely open. But that C site, which we've seen a lot of teams time and time again just try and hit over and over and over again on the attack, there's always going to be at least one player there, and there's no way to actively and effectively split that C site unless you have like some crazy amount of B control.
I mean, all in all, I'm kind of just looking in the prod chat, and I just got info. Void is going to be on defense here for the start. And all in all, for Void, I'm just thinking to myself, like, you're starting off on defense. A lot of teams really excel on defense, where they just play full retake and have 5v5 retakes, or even, 4v5 retakes if they are the lucky team to get the first initial picks when they get info off of, a Sentinel falling back if they can catch timings. So it depends on generally the roster. We do always think, Lotus, attack sided, right? 3-site maps. But in reality, it's more, I always break it down into execute sided. If a team is really, methodical about their 5v5 retakes and they execute back into space, they can win out both on attack and on defense and run a defensive line into a 12-0 score line. The problem becomes which team is going to be better at executing.
Well, and that's kind of the other thing as well, is when I think about the fact that Void is starting on defense, I'm not looking at what does their retake look like or what do their opening picks look like. I think overall, especially again, because of the fact that this team is the underdog, I think the key word that we're going to be talking about a lot within this first map is discipline. Does Void have the discipline to, and the coordination to find those opening picks, find those advantageous positions, and then have the discipline to not try and go for a hero play and then lose that advantage? So that's really the big question mark as we head into map number 1 of Lotus.
I mean, I'm personally thinking to myself, we're not going to see this map for a while in the map pool. I want to see some funny stuff. Is that weird to say? I mean,
no, that's real.
I feel like the stakes of this game, they're high. I'm not going to discredit them and be like, oh, they're not as high. But I feel like they're not as high as a traditional BO5. We can see some stuff. And look at what we're seeing.
This is really interesting. I was kind of expecting this in terms of the agents from the side of Purge Navy, because Tobix absolutely loves playing the chamber. And so I'm not surprised that we're seeing it. But a double Sentinel comp, specifically from Purge Navy, I find to be quite interesting. We'll have to see what the kind of ramifications of that are, especially when it's their turn to be on the defense. But Purge Navy starting on the attack here, and Void, I mean, that's just kind of the standard double initiator comp on Lotus, right? We talk about discipline. Great way to build it, just by playing the comp that everyone else plays.
Now, I mean, okay, just to get my story straight, you're favoring Navy a little bit, yes?
Yes, currently the team on the attack.
Is it just because of the composition?
No, it's because I think they have more firepower. Like, Amura is gonna go crazy. See?
Speaking of Amura going crazy, I guess we have, hence the analysts, never wrong. Cosmic gonna fall back as these 3 players are just gonna rush on in. Denied the entry though. The paint shell's not gonna break through the nanoswarm.
Ooh, Cosmic just gonna back up, try and play the discipline. You don't want to turn that 4v5 into a 3v5, so the plant's gonna go down, but it's gonna be on Void to try and really recommit to this retake.
Oh man, they just commit into it straight up, taking that waterfall control. Void Has 3 players to the 4 of Navy. As Navy, I mean, gets in really solid post-plant positioning here. Fox is going to find one to Purge as the rest of the roster slowly starts to fall apart. Taps just tries to get out of dodge. Your goal is just to die to bomb here.
I mean, get as many picks as you can first. So you can see Taps just trying to lurk around. Will be able to find... Oh, hold on. There it was. Finally finds it onto Ringer and will get traded out by Fox. But overall, that's kind of what we're expecting from Navy. And I think the fact that Amura was just able to swing out A main there and find that opener is huge. And that's really the advantage of this chamber, is the fact that you can be a lot more active on this lurk and be able to get out for safety. So if Amura's gonna be able to hit shots, which by all means, you know, Amura, spectate Amura, please, observer, because you will see you will see an immediate frag with this outlaw, 100%.
Are they just gonna peek, swing, get the shot? I mean, you are playing chamber here. The stun though is gonna deny our dreams. We wanted something crazy to happen, but unfortunately, just didn't work.
No, unfortunately, does not go the way. And Cosmic on this jump spot over towards C will eventually see 2 players out towards Mound. So that kind of give up that Cosmic is doing. What? Oh, okay, saw the shoulder from Taps. I was like, there's no way. But it was the good old-fashioned distance rule.
I mean, that is why, you know, you got to try and peek wide here. And at this point, right, it's the eco round for Void. They're just trying to get anything on the defensive side here. You either see, you know, a 5 stack and run it down, which is why Navy was playing quietly, or you see just a straight up stall and hold. Toj, they need to fall back here as Taps lines themselves. They can't find much though, falling back into defensive positions.
They fall away. Toge just looking to continue to try and play like a little rat around this side. Won't be able to find Ringer though. But hey, at the very least, KXG able to get the tree. 4-on-4.
Well, you were talking about it, right? Amura being a star player and they just land through. And if Navy just goes down with only 1 player falling, that's perfectly fine for here. We see a fault come through, another classic pre-gun moment as Wolf gets traded out. And Navy has lost some players. I wonder if they went for, you know, a PRX buy of some kind. So they have these players on ecos and then they can play off of Amura's outlaw and then, you know, buy up here.
No, they definitely were playing to keep most of their players alive in that round. Navy gonna have to be on some sheriffs, some ghosts here or there. I mean, technically, you have players like Foxes and Wolf that could buy, but it doesn't really make sense to, right? Just kind of keep things as they are and try and play for that round 4. And, you know, we talk about damage. Well, you know, Void did a lot of damage in round number 2, but the onus now going to be put on Navy to try and find a similar result here for that first gun round for Void.
And overall, that's why I was curious, pondering it, because it's like, if you have that and you can buy up into it, it makes a lot of sense. Tobix already entering onto the site. The number's traded out, though, but Tobix is already there. They get themselves a free upgrade as contested space now needs to be re-cleared.
The other thing as well is you still have Amura on that flank, ready to try and, you know, take a little bit of space, contain this retake from Void that they want to get started. So CT
they're gonna run into each other.
They are. Amura.
No, they're not.
Here's it.
And they're gonna find it from the backstab. Amura's gonna find one, and now look, they're gonna be pressured out. KJ can't join into the rest of the fight here. They only have 2 players for it. Another backstab found onto Cosmic and onto Bono. Fox locks it in as Navy gets the triple.
And the Odin gets picked up too from Foxes. It's not a thrifty. It's just a really solid economic round from Navy to bring themselves up to 3 here, convert that bonus round. All of a sudden, the lead, it looks phenomenal. And it really does come off the back of Amura's ability and confidence to just take that space, right? Isn't really getting punished for it, finds absolutely beautiful timings as a lurker when it's time for the retake to come in from Void, and also able to find those openings out towards the extremity and upgrades from Outlaw to Op here.
I mean, from one really potent weapon to another. Oh no. Could have been a leg shot, but unfortunately, they just want to play it safe.
Op found and recommits to the angle. I really like this out from Amura.
They're playing it slow too. They're not like being overly aggressive. I was worried about this other, the rest of the team coming in, but all in all, it's Sheriff buy, right, for Void, so they don't want to give them an inch nor a mile. If they drop a weapon, it's just rough. It's over.
It's going to be that kind of disciplined play. Taps only a Sheriff in hand alongside Toge. Same weaponry in the kit. So as all of these utilities are going to be traded out in the site, the push out of the smoke, good from Wolf. Takes care of Toge. Taps in the back of the site. Can't find anything. It's Benno to find it on the site, and Taps will finally get traded out. So that 3 versus 3 retake is going to come to fruition, and Purge has full utility online.
I don't think honestly, I didn't expect this because, I mean, the Sheriff Taps come through. I'm like, oh, it's going to be an eco round. We can have a little bit of fun. But look, the Prowler's going to catch them as well. The timings could be clean, but unfortunately, Benno's just not going to be clean enough to wrap it up. We expected this to fall this way, but the amount of economic damage that Void was able to inflict on the Navy is going to be huge. Purge, has the potential for it. Pros don't fake. They're going to stick it. They have the timing. They don't. Oh, Amura is going to lock it in, but look, the amount of damage that they did was insane.
Okay.
What? That gave him like a nice, smooth leg moment there. Shaved them pretty closely.
Yeah, shaved the hair down right there. And, listen, the thing that we're seeing from Void a lot here, which I want to give them credit and say that is, kind of nice, is the fact that a lot of these rounds that Navy has been able to put together have been really close, right? It's been, 1 player alive, 2 players alive, these really, really close situations. And so it's not really necessarily a position where Void are playing sloppily or not very disciplined. It's just that Navy are able to find those opening picks a lot easier, right? Be it from Amura or from a very kind of ballsy play from someone like Wolf or from Tobix. The fact that a lot of these players are able to take advantage of just their pure confidence and mechanical ability to find those openers just allows Navy to be able to play the trades throughout the rest of the round. And that's really what we're seeing as being such a success from this squad. And now we're coming into this round where basically everyone on the side of Purge Navy has their ultimates online, save Foxy's, but it's just a from the shadows.
I mean, it is also like a timeout for this rifle round coming up, so the way they play it should change. And I like this contesting. They're not going to allow Amura to take that space to take that first fight. They're going to get in their face.
But the showstopper, it's going to come through. Tobix able to take out Toge. Exactly. And that's a huge, once again, opening pick on the board.
Toge was caught out there, and now Void has they have a showstopper of their own, but they have to take this fast. It's gonna be a little dirty though. Amura gonna find another. You don't have a showstopper to counter. Fox to get them some trouble, and now it's just a 2v4 retake. And look who has their ultimate online, the Rolling Thunder, to lock it in. Just a cherry on top of an already delicious sundae. It's not needed, but it's there, and it's a 1-for-1 on Fox. Cosmic's gonna fall. You just have Purge, KVX versus their counterpart. I was gonna say it would have been really funny to see a breach v breach battle, but even with the changes that I loved from Void, it's not gonna carry them over the edge. Angel's not carrying them.
Yeah, and it has to do with that fight towards water. These post plants from Navy have just been so clean, and the fact that you not only have this fight towards water where Void lose all of their ultimates in terms of the firepower, right? They lose the Nightfall there. The showstopper was still online from Taps, but the problem was the adjustment from Amura after getting pushed off A just rotates towards B and then catches Taps on the rotate. Is just, again, these huge adjustments. It really does feel like Amura is just half the number of this team.
Ooh, I mean, talk about having someone's number. even though it is an eco round, you gotta give, some credence to a shot where it's just like, you talked about ballsy plays and from someone like Wowolf. Yeah. Just yeah.
Yeah. The fact that we are seeing this level of coordination out from Navy, it really does just show how strong of a team they are. Right? They still have 3 of their ultimates online. Cosmic's gonna try and commit the retake here with that lockdown, but they still have a very strong post plant Navy. Like, it's gonna be really, really solid here.
I mean, more than just that, they have this. Yeah, I was gonna say they have these ultimates to combat with. We're just gonna find Tobix though. The trades are coming through. The numbers equalize just for a moment, and even though it seemed kind of doomed, it might come to fruition. Toge is gonna find an upgrade, and the potential pinch towards tree can come out here. That's information gained. A reload needs to come through. The fight won by Toge. It's just gonna be one final player, and they get it. It's gonna be within the nick of time, but I think they have the time to defuse here.
Yeah, by like a couple seconds, actually. Void able to finally convert around, and, go figure. It's a thrifty to come through to bring the first round to the defense. And, it's a little late to the start, but the fact that they're able to get this round is huge. It really does put a halt in the momentum from Purge Navy. You're going to see finally this ultimate from Amura get committed here, the Tour de Force. And you still have these 2 really powerful retake ultimates online in the Nightfall and the Rolling Thunder. So you're probably going to see those 2 ultimates come up in the retake here in this round for Void, because they want to build this momentum.
Oh, man. Toge's already going to find Tobix. The trades are there. We see, it's always like that momentum. It seems like even a mental hump that has been, pushed over by this Void squad. They're able to just win the opening fights.
The fact that they're able to get these trades out 1 for 1, plus the kill from taps onto Amura is huge, right? They have the numbers advantage, and you can see this is the discipline finally coming through for Void. They're not overextending. They're waiting for the ultimates to come through. Rolling Thunder gonna be first up. Cosmic dodges the flash, and Fox is tucked in towards Bend. Yeah, it's gonna be this huge push, but Ringer finds 2.
Purge with the 2K of their own KXV to help them win this out. That's the second round found. And again, it's just that momentum change. The pacing of it seems to be so different.
Yeah, that is just beautiful from Void. KXV finds that double on the retake off the back of the Rolling Thunder, secures the round for the team, and just the hold from taps is owed in there as well. Just to add a little bit of like insult to injury. That's the thing that takes out Ringer, despite the fact that he was on an absolute heater there.
Yeah. It's one of those feels bad moments. But it's got to feel good for Void here, because we've been talking Navy up and giving them their gold stars here, but you start seeing them on the board, start seeing some potential in them.
Okay, on mound.
Oh, this could be devastating here. The tap to come through, finds the first, and that opening shot. 2 rounds ago, I don't think Toge would have been able to find it, but here, have full faith in them.
Yeah, and you can see Toge just trying to play Bend around that utility, throws out the dark cover. The jump spot was there, so Nano Swarm's going to be taken offline here. And look at the reposition from Toge. Gets a little bit more aggressive, tries playing behind this smoke in the corner here. But it's a rotate over towards A, and KXV, first responder, spots out that one player, and it's a B-side hit confirmed.
There it is. The Nightfall. Preparing to be used. I mean, I feel like they are going to pop it if the plant goes down here at some point. It's going to get popped. Fox to take the fight initially off of it. But look, KXV to get one with their utility. Amura still has that off, but they whip. KXV has just been, pinpointing these players, and that ultimate helped them wrap things up in a bow.
Yeah, it's the Nightfall that comes through from Benno, plus the Aftershock from KXV. Looks really, really solid. And again, it's that coordination and discipline coming out from Void. They wait for the spike tap to go down, that's when they start to commit the Nightfall. That's when all the utility comes out. And within that chaos, they're able to commit to the retake. There we go.
I'm gonna pop up like a little jack-o'-lantern here. I didn't know if we were. I was like, we're going on cams. Hi, welcome. Did you call me a jack-o'-lantern? Or wait, did I say Jack? I said it was Jack in the Box. Like,
yeah. But overall, I think the way that this team has kind of reformed themselves. I'm talking specifically about Void here. The fact that they're able to capitalize on this chaos so well, and again, it's this change in mentality where now they're able to play a little bit more proactive at the start of the rounds, find those openers, and then they just get to back off. They're in much better positions going into the middle of the round and into the late round, and they're continuing to just play solid, play together. It's just really beautiful fundamental Valorant. And if we're going to continue to see that from them throughout the rest of this half, you could honestly be looking at like a 6-6 recovery, despite the fact that they started this half 0-5.
I mean, the thing for me, Angel, also is that this timeout came out from Void, so I expect them to start changing their pacing up as well. They're waiting out all of this utility here, and they are looking to be leaving. Okay, they're leaving Chamber for the lurk and allowing for the full rest of the team to push out. Interesting.
They're swapping sides finally. This timeout from Navy, it really does just serve to adjust this kind of play where, you know, now you're trying to focus on this A main side a bit more. Toge in towards Rubble with that Odin.
It could be devastating.
I mean, yeah, this is tragic if they don't clear it. But
oh no, yeah, they do clear it.
Yeah.
But still, finds the first, gets traded out for the double Fox to get another, and they're just gonna push straight into this numbers equalize. The Taps is going to tip the scales. That ultimate's out of rotation right now. Look who's on low HP. Tabs. Oh, they realistically here, it is a 1v2 unless you can get this race to be more active.
The Amura has to go huge in this round to, at the very least, find that opener. Because, you know, at that point, once there's only one gun in the hands of Void, there's only one gun online, you can kind of play like the trade. But at this position, Amura has to try and find one. And at the very least, they're able to get the plant. But Amura might be able to catch KXV off guard here.
Love this advanced position. It's honestly a game of timings. A dance, a ballad to be found, and KXV wins. They are the dancer of the ball here, but we can't discredit Tobix just yet. 5 HP in the dream. It has to be precise. It has to be clean. And look at this wraparound. We're talking about dances. They're going to be spinning this tune as Tobix is trying to find you. Oh, Banana Storm to come in. I don't know if they know that they're at 5 HP. That's the bomb being held. Tobix to find the first. A paint shell refresh on it. They're just playing the time. And that's how they win this? With 5 HP. One shot to the leg can win it out. But you're just going to be a rat here. And Tobix even locks the kill on top of it to find their ultimate.
What a clutch from Tobix. 5 HP. 1 versus 2. Sure, you had one player that was low on the other side, but still, you yourself were only one errant bullet through a wall away from death. And the fact that you can see Tobix able to bring things across the line here, get that showstopper back online coming into this, I mean, that is the momentum that Navy needed, right? They lost the last 3 in a row due to retakes. If you lose a 4th, then Void just become really, really empowered into these last couple of rounds. But at this point, things have started to stabilize. You can see it's business as usual with the majority of Navy out towards Mal.
And they're playing this rather passively. They have both their Sentinels lurking out here. They have the Tobix ultimate to come through. And even though the paranoia is going to land, Toge is not out. We're talking about this. What? Toge is the mastermind here. Oh my gosh, it's literally like being in ballet class all over again. You must pair away, you must dance around. And the swirls that we've seen out of Toge to avoid that ultimate were insane.
I am absolutely speechless. The fact that Toge can sit there and find that 3-piece, despite all that's coming at him, he just sees it beautifully. And now we move into this round where Void, you know, you're back on the up and up. You know, you have the momentum firmly in your hands again. Navy don't have their hands on anything, not even the opening pick. Just tap, secure it.
I think you had the soul read there of the 6-6 half. Phobix is going to enter in here. They have some ultimates, but they don't have weapons to invest. KXV to get one more. They're just pressured off of this point. They don't want this smoke. And very clearly, a flawless to come to fruition. They even pop an ultimate to, you know, assert some of that dominance. Maybe a little early, because, you know, they're running it down on Sheriffs. But all in all, 6-6 half looming over the heads of Navy. They don't want this.
Last round.
No, Navy, you want to be able to, at the very least, convert a lead going into the swap. So this is where everything has to come out. You're gonna see the Rolling Thunder from Ringer, and you're probably, hopefully, gonna be able to see Wolf on the Neural Theft if they can find an opening. And you can see, you know, that lurk from Amura that would normally come out in positions like this to try and find an opening. It's not gonna be here. I think Amura's finally realized that Void have solved the flank situation.
And just play more discipline. Make sure to not have any gaps. Speaking of gaps, we saw, you know, the fleet-footed player of Toge going down finally. So it seems like, you know, spirits are a little broken. But not out yet. They have this site. A little TP in from Fox as well to get a really good crossfire set up.
This is just, again, the positioning from Navy is perfect, and they still have Rolling Thunder to use, possibly to try and buy a little bit of time delay for that eventual diffuse that Void is going to try and go for. Rolling Thunder to commit, and there it is. Dueling Rolling Thunders coming in, and Tobix able to capitalize on two, looking to try and find a third.
It might not be that. I kind of cursed it, I think. It seems like the 7 has come out of, you know, just pure aggression. And for Navy here, I was like, okay, yeah, it seems like, you know, 6-6 soul read. We have the momentum swing of a double. I did not expect to, you know, I don't know Navy's game yet. I'll say it that way.
No, that opening pick from Fox there just serves as a beautiful piece of entry work. And now that we're able to come into this new pistol round, you can see the setup they're going for. Both Sentinels actually posted up here on C with the bulk of the defense over on A, and no real player investing themselves towards C towards B just yet. It's just that tripwire to hold things down.
Oh, Amura is gonna be out first. Wow, Wolf kind of baiting for them, allowing them.
What?
What? Okay.
Yeah, pistol round might be over.
Listen, we saw the previous scenario with, you know, the fleet-footed Toga, but boy, okay, we might have an entire band of D&D characters here, because if we have a fleet-footed player, we have the taps from these guys. Holy Amura is the ranger for this squad, with their aim being out of this world.
If only Toge and Amura were on the same team.
Oh man, are you insinuating something?
Nope, not at all. Because Fox is the smokes player right now for Navy is at the top of the leaderboard, just looking beautiful. So, but you know, you were talking about a band of D&D characters, so I figured, you know,
and the same party, adventuring together.
Yeah. I actually like this adjustment from Navy, right? The fact that they're now bulk is over towards Mound, trying to fight for that extremity control towards C.
Got entirely smoked out. Oh, Fox is ready for this.
Yeah.
A grenade to be found. They're just going to collapse immediately. Oh, look at that timing. Oh, look at that timing. And we start to actually see Ringer popping off a little bit here. You know, a name that I didn't see too much of. They get the trades, though. The numbers. I mean, yeah, I was going to say the numbers fall in equal, and so do the guns, I would say.
Yeah, this is not the position you want to be in for Void, you know, or for Navy, sorry. You could argue a bit of an overcommitment to that fight, but now, you know, we talked about Amura in that last round. We're gonna have to see again a big performance here, lest Navy lose this round.
Teleport's ready.
Oh, Mura.
Oh, the timing.
Recommits though.
Oh, the timing
No,
again.
man. I like how I'm like, recommits. No, gets timing once again. The stun to be avoided. The players to be found.
There you
That's
go.
the first. And they're going to drop back down into drop to try and catch a timing onto another. Gets the second. Amura is just on it here with the chamber diff.
Yeah.
Okay. To be expected at this point almost, right?
Amura is just looking beautiful on this defensive side, right? Just let him post up on an angle with any sort of sniper. Really, he's gonna be looking good. You said a chamber diff, and you know I will say it is true. The chamber on Purge Navy is doing significantly better than the chamber on Purge Voids.
That's just a Sentinel diff. My apologies.
Yeah, I mean, even then, you know,
Murder.
there's 2 Sentinels on Navy and there's only 1 on Void. So yeah, there's a difference.
They do have a difference in Sentinels.
Sure.
Why are you calling me out here? I'm trying to have some fun. SMH my head.
Amura's having a ton of fun right now.
You know, Amura is, you know, glad here. They are 4 rounds up in the lead. They found the pistol in the bonus, and look at this. They're getting even more aggressive into it.
And now you have the Tour de Force online. You can drop the Outlaw over the Tobix. Like, there's so much control here. All Wolf has to really do is play for the info, call for the rotation, and get out. You know, that's it. Overall, you're going to be looking good. If Wolf finds at least 1 here, I mean, that's basically like the round put on the platter for Navy.
Okay, I just want to mention, was that a headshot too? Like, not only was it an Outlaw. Oh, man, I was about to say, like, if they're hitting heads out here.
Yeah, on the Tour de Force.
With an op, it's like, okay, hey, homie. You know, you got to just hit him in the chest, right?
Yeah, this is a recommit now coming in, and Amura just gonna be able to hold that still. Like, it really does feel like Void don't have an answer.
Here.
It's a conga line. If you get the reference, you get the reference. The conga line continues as we're peaking 1 by 1. Amura's on the 3K, and the last 2 players, it's like almost like, hey, you know, give them the space. Wawolf with a single ghost is just going to tap the heads of these players. Drops down, the 4K found. How dare you take my ace? That's going to be the exact same thing that they did previously, winning a hat trick out in a row. 3 in a row picked up for Navy.
Amura's headshot there with the headhunter actually made me hyena laugh. I cannot believe that shot. 20 and 7. I mean, this is just saying that this is a game from Amura is an understatement. This is a dominant showing on map
game
number
type
1
beat.
of Lotus. I mean, listen, I mentioned the fact that Navy does love to run this chamber, and I think we are seeing why.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say, how so? Why so? ISO?
Nope. Chamber.
No, chamber. And the chamber reality here is very strong. Spam through found.
Hey.
Okay, Tobix. Tobix like, hey guys, I'm the duelist here. I know Amura's doing good stuff, but I'm the duelist.
This is now Void in a position where you can start to see the nerves really settle in. That pick from Cosmic is huge. It's gonna draw rotations away, but Tobix is still posted up here. Still gonna be able to find 4 with the spray.
Oh,
And
man.
Cosmic.
Get him.
Eco
Question
ace. Eco ace.
Yeah, that's the question.
I mean, that's my question. Is like, honestly, just go for it. Give him the eco ace. Cosmic's position
might
has
have
been
to.
found, so it's just a matter of like, Tobix, you swing, have fun with it, right? Oh, okay. A little bit more deadly.
This has to be real. There it is. Tobix gets it. Takes out Cosmic.
Ooh.
All the nerves for Navy go right down the drain. They're up to 11, and now this is a position where this timeout needs to come through for Void. You need to just get some sort of confidence coming back into this map, because you lose the last, what was that, 4 rounds in a row?
Yeah,
Oh,
that is.
Oh,
Especially because it was the pistol. It was the pistol, the anti-eco, and then the bonus. And you're here like, you lose the bonus round when you should have better weaponry. It adds another layer of sort of panic that you're not able to regroup. This also is going to be the first sort of rifle round after that sort of chaos unfolded with the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, this is essentially our round number 5 here in this half. And the big thing is that technically, if you look at the last half, Void didn't have a great start in that half either, right? They went down 0-5. And so, as history would point to, Navy would get this round. But Void, you do have, your economy backing you here. The big thing is if you're going to be able to cope with this Amura op, and you're not going to give away these opening picks. If you can use some of that utility, force Amura into some more uncomfortable angles, and even force the teleport out so you can take that initial space, that's going to be huge. But this A main fight that's about to take place in the next second is going to dictate this round.
Amura is lined up for it. It's the first! And you're talking about setting the pace, dictating the round. I'm going to have to agree. Wild Wolf now needing to claw their way back up the side of this hill. The Boombot to go out. It's not going to catch Wild Wolf. The timing. The sneaky salamander could be found here. Or maybe the wolf in sheep's clothing, in the shrouded step, in the fables of it. Fox is prepared for a potential fight as they pop out of a tree here. They just walk out. The paranoia misses Fox. The rest of the roster is ready to pounce here. We see the plant going down. The paranoia to come through. One down. KXV to fall. Here comes the party, though. And it seems like, it started off and dictated the pacing, but you got to remember that it's the entire fight. And Wild Wolf is a part of it. The 3K found. Match point locked in.
That A main fight, it did dictate the pace of the round, because immediately, as soon as Amura died, the rotations immediately started from Navy, right? And so there was no real slowdown from Void to try and account for that. They decided to commit. And so after Wild Wolf finds that opening pick, then Fox feels a little bit more loose and a little bit more enabled out towards drop, finds that 2K, and then Wild Wolf can capitalize off the back of it. Amura has to go huge, and, well, can't find anything again.
They're like, hey, what happened last time? We're going to get out of here. And honestly, I think it's the right call, because you don't have Wild Wolf in such a position. You have Wild Wolf kind of waiting for that, re-clear. But they're going to be way more hesitant to take that space, because you set that precedent. You've kind of, trained them to be wary of the corners.
This is an interesting position from Amura, expecting that door to get opened. Just playing the time.
They conditioned them so much that Toe's just like, no, we're doing this.
Benno might end up losing
here. The spray down, the 3K found ringers on the other side. It's just going to be up to Taps to try to bring it out. I am in shock. The amount of multi-kills that we have found in this game as it wraps up in the final moments have been insane. A showstopper invested right at the end. But unfortunately, it's not going to prevent the inevitability of what's happening here.
The show did stop, and Navy take the first map 13-5, a flawless defensive side on this map of Lotus. It looked beautiful from this squad, and you have to, I think, MVP of this map at the very least, it has to be Amura, right?
Oh, yeah. And almost entirely so, because all in all, just the way that they played that and the amount of multi-kills and the amount of shots they got have been out of this world. The one kind of note I will say, I do want to give an MVP shout out to Toj for just the insanity that happened round 10 with the whiff on Tobix, who didn't find the showstopper. They just whoop off to the side, like, miss me, and then got the 4K. Yeah, Toge was just like, I don't need to take that fight. I'm chilling.
No, I think that's definitely play of the game, right? The dodging the showstopper into the 3K on the sight hold, that was really beautiful. And that's, at the very least, a bright light coming into map number 2, which we mentioned, similarity to Lotus, it is a 3-site map. So coming into map number 2, potentially bright lights. It is going to be Void looking to try and equalize this series, but until we get to that, we have to go to a quick break. So don't go anywhere. Map number 2 of Haven will be right with you after this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. If you're just joining us, we had a doozy of a day down on Lotus. But if you watched it, you know what happened. My name is Nerds. I'm here with Ancient Angel for those coming in, and we are on to game number 2 of this best of 5.
Game number 2. We're going into Haven. Another 3-site map after the first map of Lotus. Lotus was 13-5. It was pretty extensively dominant for the side of Purge Navy. They had a flawless defensive side in that second half, never dropped a round. Amura just looked absolutely insane on the chamber. Part of me wants to see it again, but I think that it makes a little bit more sense to kind of stabilize into a more traditional composition on Haven. We've seen a fair bit of neon, and especially on this map recently, not necessarily out from either of these two teams, but my question coming into this map for you is, do you think the neon is better than the jet?
I mean, here's the thing. I casted recently with another caster who's like adamantly, fervently, like, I love having jet because they like the op. And in my opinion, I feel like it just depends on who's your opper and how they like to play. So interestingly enough, if Amura did decide to be like, you know what, I am going to op, I would feel like they would either favor the jet or they just go back to chamber, where it's like, realistically, chamber got some buffs recently and they aren't that bad. The player themselves is really popping off and having that sort of momentum to go into it carried over from Lotus. So I would say they either favor the jet or they go with a neon chamber composition. That's where my headspace is at.
I mean, listen, I think the chamber could be good, especially because we haven't seen a lot of teams really explore the chamber since those buffs. And, you know, like, people talk about, like, how, you know, the jet with the operator will always peek towards short. You can do the same thing with the chamber. With the anchor, the teleport anchor, you just send it out towards, like, either the corner of graffiti, like that close corner, or the corner of a link. Yeah. You can do that. And you can get your chambers off to peek in towards short. You also have a pretty solid ability to hold C and C long with garage control with your trademark. Overall, I don't think chamber's bad. I just don't necessarily know if that's the route that Navy is going to take in this map. I think if you want to keep Amura on the op, it probably would make sense to keep them on jet and then maybe see Tobix move over to maybe like a breach. I don't know. I'm trying to figure that one out myself.
It more depends on how comfortable Tobix is on playing sort of that initiator role. I do know a lot of like the flex duelists where they play flash initiators and they kind of get sort of a little bit more aggro and be that second fragger because they always want to entry and push in. So I wouldn't be surprised, but we're going to see it right now here.
Oh.
Okay. Viper Omen coming out of Void, which is fair. No chamber, no jet.
Yeah. And the only initiator for Void is the KO.
So I don't like KO as a solo initiator. I'm going to be so candid.
Okay, hold on. Let me try and play devil's advocate here.
Okay.
I think that KO is the new Sky.
The refreshing 0 point, is that the vibe? The refreshing 0 point gives info, the flashes give space.
Yes. It's the refreshing info, gives you that. The flashes give space. The fragment grenade, very versatile. You can use it either to take space or to, you know, play for time, you know, stall out a push, or just deny the retake. I think the really interesting thing with this composition as well is you do have the toxic screen from Cosmic, right? And that kind of wall that you're going to get is going to allow you to play for a lot more stall, which does actually favor themselves in this very execute burst heavy composition that Navy's running.
I can see it how it's kind of like the new Sky. But all in all, the first hit's going to get started. The plant to go down. Tobix, it's just going to immediately go for it. And they're just going to play for the spam towards B. They don't have the deepest garage control. And that's my big question here when this flank comes to fruition.
This runaway from Taps is huge, but KXV falling to Amura. Still on that sentinel roll. Pushes up garage and catches Cosmic off. Toge has to try and trade, but can't get it done.
Okay, Amura being on the sentinel
already.
is like already. I mean, hey, pistol round ace would be insane. Considering that Fox just yoinked one, though, we get the 4K from Amura. But all in all, just immediate like firepower from this team.
Yeah, and you know what? I was talking about Amura potentially being that offer still. Not necessarily going to be the case. We could still see it at some point on the defense, but you know, the fact that Amura can still be this lurker, you know, play info for the team with the Cypher utility, has the ability and the agency to take his own timings at different parts of the map. That's what you want to see. And that 4K to start things off, it's going to make him confident. It's going to make him really get a lot of momentum back inside.
It's the classic eco. Taps is pushing up again into A. They're going to catch one. A double for Taps. It's a Bucky to get the trade. And I just have to agree with you, Angel. Oh my God is the correct thing to say here.
That's not something that Taps should ever get away with, but you know, they don't expect the push out, so they get punished for it. And Amura could be the next to try and equalize here with this play towards B. KXV. Oh, this is great discipline, right?
Oh, look who's in the corner.
Oh,
look who's in the
Toge.
corner. It's Toge back here, and it seems like it's Thrifty's in order. Void just climbing up for. I mean, like, it's literally just up to Amura.
1v3, doesn't have spike, 40 seconds, has nothing but a ghost. Weapons, I believe, were picked up and now are in the hands of Void. So all they have
Look who also has a weapon, though. Amuro has a Spectre in hand. I mean, it's just a Spectre, though. That's the spike picked up.
A.
I have to at this point. It's just a tap, though. They need to commit to A, but not just yet. The timing could be good here. Trying to catch a player off guard. The plant's going to come through, but the spam is just there. And I don't see the Thrifty, but I'm going to call it a Thrifty because they just had, what, classics at the start? Sheriffs?
I think one person had a Sheriff and Taps. I think everyone else was classic only. So it does make sense that, you know, the opener Taps 2K finds the round for this team. And you can see now that the eco is in order for Navy to try and, you know, balance their economy out. Outlaw in the hands of Taps, looking to push out short, treat it just like an operator.
There. Gotta go.
And, you know, thankfully for Navy, there is no one looking to stare down that barrel, but instead it was Toge trying to spam out a kill towards window.
Shocking to come through. Tobix again with that Bucky in hand. They're going for this fast play, but trying to get control of these extremities. Blink be picked up. Tobix just gonna peek out, finds Taps, and you know, KO on these sidelines. Oh, Amura is gonna peek through. They're playing off this side. Purge. AXV gonna be tapped for it as well. And on the site, we have, you know, a little bit of a blender in the fight. But all in all, the plant is down. They're going to try and contest it. It's just going to be very heavily spammed here. They're reloading, so the half can be picked up. Pros don't need to fake here. It's just going to be stuck.
And that's that power of the numbers advantage. And also the power of this composition from Void, right? When you set up that toxic screen in the position they have it, you essentially have a perma smoke available for you on the retake whenever the Viper and the Omen are up together. So you can just smoke it, let someone stick. You can guarantee that they're going to have to spam for it. And on an eco round like that, where they just have sheriffs, it's going to be impossible to take out someone through a smoke. So a beautifully played retake from Void guarantees a second, but now it's finally full rifles in the hands of Purge Navy.
Oh, Tobix just sliding on in through Garage, breaking all of the KJ utility. Navy wants to go fast onto this C site. Unfortunately, look at this trap laid out. Cosmic defined onto Tobix. They have that orb still at the front of sight. Who in the corner? Toge has not been caught just yet. Still wins the fight. Gets a double. Impact players on these Omens. Fox with the trade. But at this point, Void has got out like a bandit.
And Amura, you know, you're the next up, trying to go huge here. Has their way in, but the double swing is good, and now it's Fox. 1v4, only 50 seconds left on the board. I mean, you might as well just call it here. Try and save that gun into the next round, because your team has nothing behind them. So Anything you can find here, anything you can save would be beautiful, but nothing found. KXV takes you down, and now Navy, they're going to be in a tough spot because they're back down to saves. They're back down to sheriffs.
I mean, hey, we talk about, you know, the differences between Lotus and Haven, and they are apparent, right? They are just very apparent here. You know, realistically, they talk about the sites, you know, Lotus very execute heavy, whereas on Haven, it is execute heavy too, but stall is also really important, specifically on really important choke points. The Viper, the double controller setup that they have, kind of acts as that, you know, not only the pseudo sentinel, but also just to lay down those traps. Cosmic, on top of that, has been really solid on the aim. So overall, this Viper is working really good for them here.
Right, that's taken out. This Viper, actually heavy hold over to
Oh,
it's gonna be huge, but I mean, sure, Benno's able to find that, but look at Mamura here in Link. Let's get taken out.
I mean, it's an eco round for them, so I'm not like super concerned, but like all in all, some really bad whiffs, and Tobik's going down is unfortunate in the timing, but the whiff for Amura has been, it would have, they could have at least swayed some of the momentum in the round.
It's gonna go down, so at the very least, it's gonna be a retake forced, but Hoge finds that kill onto Foxes, and at that point, it's writing on the wall.
I mean, at this point, there needs to be some fundamental changes, I would say, for the side of Navy, a potential timeout for them. I mean, these teams, the one thing I do like, and one thing I am a stickler about, is these timeouts, so...
I don't necessarily know if Navy needs to take a timeout here. You know, they're keeping this game, like, the game is still manageable at this point, right? It's only a 4-1 lead. You're going to be able to buy full rifles coming into this round. You're going to start to see some of these power ultimates come online, right? You have the overdrive in the hands of Tobix. Wolf going to be able to grab that Hunter's Fury. And the one thing I'll say is Wolf, yeah, the performance last map left a little bit to be desired, but now we're seeing this comfort agent come out from him, right? This Sova is his best agent. It's his most played, especially within this team environment of Purge Void, or Purge Navy, forgive me. So.
That's fair. They're playing this as a default, though, right now. Is that the pace change that they needed?
I think this makes sense. The fact that they are looking to really slow down, wait for some sort of aggression, because Void, over these last couple of rounds, have been quite aggressive, right? You saw the Taps push out a main to start this off, and then you see the Taps and Benno push all the way into like attacker spawn through C long as well to try and find engagements. So it does make sense to go a little bit slow here, but eventually the execute into B is going to go through.
Oh, wow, Wolf just waiting for the perfect timing for them to pop. There it is. Oh. They get their utility, take it away. Snatched by the 0 point. Toge falling back, just spamming out a little bit, trying to see if they can get some chip damage, waiting for them to regroup together as they peek out. The flash to come through. And Toge still is going to win, but the numbers equalize in favor of Navy right now. They also have their ultimate. They pick up Mono, and now it's just going to be up to KXV to try and lock something in here, but they can't even pick up their teammate. The double has been found. One towards Gong, one in the corner. They know. Get the double and the defuse.
What a clutch from KXV. Oh my god. I'm speechless. I don't know what to say there. By all accounts, Navy got the trades. They were able to find their way into the site. And eventually KXV over towards a Link. Just a beautiful isolation of the gunfights. Maybe the swing was a little late. I don't know. But it works perfectly. And the only thing that Navy can do now is try and hope that this round, this eco round that they're taking, they can commit some ultimates behind it, find some momentum, and shut things down. Because if Void run away with this hack, it's going to be very difficult to find their way back in.
Different maps, different styles. Tobix is just going to enter in fairly quickly off this overdrive to try and catch the first. Peppers up, the player onto one. I thought Cosmic would win it, but no, it's back to KXV to take the mantle here. They found the double in the previous. They'll find another here. That's the third for them. They spam through. Ace not there. Toge needs to pick things up. And even though it is going to be a broken buy, it should have been some contention from Navy.
Navy just get absolutely brutalized by Void on the site there. You have to give credit to Cosmic, right? Just being able to stall out for so long and then KXV recommitting in. I will say the role change from KXV here onto this Killjoy, it looks night and day, right? Like KXV was not a player we were talking about often on that first map of Lotus, but here it feels like the Killjoy is just right at home for them.
And honestly, I mean, I said this before, I'm a stickler about timeouts. I feel like, you know, you said it was manageable at the time. I'm going to agree because I was going to say, I was going to agree on that point because the reason that they lost wasn't because of any like technical mistakes. It was just KXV popping off and, you know, hey, that happens. But at this point, it isn't manageable. You need a 6-6 half. You talked about this, and you know, you're right. You want at least a closer half, either 6-6, 7-5, something, so they can bring it back.
4-8 minimum, I think, is realistically what we need to be looking for here. I think 4 is the magic number on Haven. And so for Maus, or not Maus, but for the entirety of Navy, it's really about being able to, for lack of a better word, being able to recollect your thoughts here, coming into round number 8, and being able to find a new way in. But Taps picks up this operator, gonna start to peek towards short. You do not want to get caught out if you're any of these Navy players.
Oh, yeah. And look who doesn't have the cross set up for them. Oh,
okay.
Taps needs to get into it.
Took a second.
Fox is just gonna get away over there for free. Not holding the deeper control.
Yeah. This hold on the C side of Cosmic is, I was gonna say it's beautiful, but then, you know, you drop down to 30 HP, you're basically left with no choice but to leave the site. It's actually both extremities completely left open. B has been fully stacked on. The defense from Void just looks beautiful. It's enabled this stack to come through, and because this is where Navy want to go, they're going to have a phenomenal defense.
Oh, and this is going to be a dump of utility from both sides. Toge to find the first. They get not away with it, unfortunately. Ringer to get the double here, and there's the overdrive to be countered. A spam yet again from KXV as Taps goes in to spray these players down. No more tapping, just spraying and not praying because you have that neon overdrive. It slows down just for a moment. Don't expect a rehyt just yet because they have 30 seconds. They need to at least get a pick or two before they make this space. And look at this. The timing and the pacing between them. Amura and Fox going to pick up a double. They pop that ultimate just to try and secure the round, but the information's already been gained. They finally find the second.
Thank goodness it comes through. Otherwise, Navy was going to be looking at a really tough score line coming into that next half. At the very least now, you know, you have that second round on the board. Hopefully some confidence will be, you know, growing within these players, especially Amura, a player that we talked about so often on map 1 now coming in here. It's been a significantly rougher. You know, you want to see a little bit more space being taken, but I suppose when you're just waiting for this very aggressive defensive start to these rounds that Void has been doing, you know, you feel a little bit burdened trying to do that.
Ultimate's in Navy's favor right now, especially for it. And it's going to be an early pop to try and deny it. Taps to find the first on Amura with the lurk. They've dumped an ultimate and some utility to try and find this player out, but the numbers are falling right now in favor. I spoke a little too soon. I was going to say they were in favor of Void there.
Poison's off.
And this you know, Viper's Pit been completely ignored, and Cosmic trying to find something here ends up getting taken out by Ringer, and so these two players on the flank are going to get taken out by Ringer, and just at the drop of a hat, Navy have completely changed the direction that this game was headed.
Third round picked up, and look who's got an early timeout to try and respond here. Listen, they had the reason I say it is because they had early times out previously, and you saw how it worked on Lotus, where teams were able to pick things up. So this being a different map, Void wanting to not go down here, they're fighting to stay into this org. So makes sense. Makes sense, at least in my mind. They want to make it unmanageable for Navy.
Yeah, I suppose, right? You want to try and build yourself a 9-3 half here, especially because this is, I think, with the way that this comp is set up, this defensive side is supposed to be the side that your comp is favored to, right? You have the Viper for the stall, the KO to cancel a lot of sight hits and force a kind of change in the game plan in the mid round. You have the Neon to get really aggressive and active on the retakes alongside the Killjoy utility, which is also there, kind of in tandem with the Viper utility to also stall out. It feels like your comp was built for this defensive half. And so if you potentially lose this, like 6-6, you lose your lead, that is a essentially catastrophic failure. Especially because we know that Navy is really good on this defensive side.
Oh, yeah. Of course. Looking at it now, it's going to be a quick pop towards A. Taps is going to relocate themselves for a little bit. They're not taking the fight down short. Instead, they're just waiting to see how Navy plays this out. The flash is positioned for Taps out of the smoke. Oh, they take that space. The fight's going to be going. It's going to be Taps to find the first. The flash a little late. They fall back into positions. Taps can get out, but unfortunately, KO has got themselves locked in here. Amura back on this lurk, trying to find something, but it's just going to be KXV to shoot a bullet in your face. And looking at these defensive positions, they're not afraid of taking fights, and they're not afraid of playing discipline and falling back when they need to.
Yeah, this is the discipline that we needed to come out, but Tobix able to find one. The immediate trade, though, from Benno, it serves as a sticking point onto the fact that way you're going to be able to find one without getting traded. So you have to try and play a lot more passive, or I suppose just...
I was gonna say Navy has been favoring B a lot here, which is an interesting comparison to Lotus, how it's played out. The timings were thin. Fox has the potential here. They're gonna be caught off with their smokes. That's gonna be KXV. I mean, not only do they see the barrel, but then the smoke immediately coming out here. We're ringing around the double. They need to get this bomb down, though. The stick has to come through, and look at this pinch from these players. They're isolated, but still, KXV's been popping off just enough to get him the 7th.
That got scary for a second. I can't lie. When Ringer found that double towards A main, I was like, oh, hold on. There's a chance here. But KXV continuing to be just a dominant presence here on Haven, shuts it down, guarantees a lead at the half for Purge Void. And that's what you want to see coming out from this team, especially considering the lackluster performance we saw on Lotus. So the fact that you're able to truly guarantee a lead here, you know, you're making it so Navy is going to have to work from under throughout this entire map. They have to try and stage a comeback here. This is what you want to see, and Navy still in the danger zone, right? Don't have that guaranteed 4th round.
Oh, they don't. Look, Taps has most of short picked up.
Oh, Taps is going.
Are they? And they're gonna get one for it. Amura's not there for the trade. They're going back up into it. They're just gonna reclaim this space. Amura peeks into it, loses their life, gets shot in the abdomen, and now it's just these last 3 players. They do have the Rolling Thunder to prevent it, but they're being pinched from all sides. They have one towards long, short, CT,
Lockdown.
maybe even heaven. Like, holy.
Lockdown gets committed. They have nowhere to go. They either have to fight to destroy the lockdown, which is what they're going to do.
Fighting.
They go out. They take care of Cosmic. The lockdown's next to fall, but Taps is already sticking the spike. Fox is going to be able to find Purge, but the retake is coming through, and Taps hasn't gone down yet. The spike's been halved, and there's the 3K from Benno. Secures the round, and now Navy, it's either 8-4 or bust.
Dude, no way. I mean, at that point, right, they fought for it. They had the ultimate invested, and it just was rough for them. All in all, though, here, 8-4, 9-3. I feel like the morale and the difference between Void and Navy is being shown here on the different maps, and that's kind of what I was talking about earlier.
It's not just the morale, but again, the discipline from Void, right? you know, you don't see that far of a push out. Taps finds that first onto Wolf, secures the 4v3, and then immediately they back up. They play their lives. They play to stay alive. Off the back of that push towards a link, that's when they make their presence known. And you can see even here, they don't try and overcommit to a fight they're afraid of, right? They don't want to win it. They don't have a need to win that fight, so they don't need to overcommit. And instead, it's just Taps using that overdrive and playing from a distance through the smoke.
I mean, they're not going to commit to anything here because realistically, they want Taps to get rid of their ultimate as much, you know, it's like waiting out a Clove ult.
Yep.
While Wolf now committing that the timing has been reached for them. Get themselves an orb as well here. Flash, primed and ready. I mean, they also do have this KO ultimate. So how are they layering this for the take?
It seems that you can see the overdrive coming out from Tobix. It's all back towards B here. Navy, you want to try and win this round.
I think it's going to be a 5v5 retake.
It has to be, but the null command immediately getting popped. It's going to facilitate this retake quite well. Amura with the Guardian
position, though.
going to be in trouble.
For me right now, it's just a matter of the timings. He's going to find the first, the second to be got. It's trades back in 4-3v3. You need to get this if you want the 8-4, not the 9-3, and you only have 2 players. The Hunter's Fury invested to try and slow things down. Wow, we'll have to find one and another. They managed to grip it right at the very end. That Hunter's Fury helping them out immensely.
That is the Hunter's Fury I wanted to see come out from Wolf. That entire half, and it finally comes through. It looks beautiful in the last round, secures the 4th for Navy, and that's kind of what I mentioned all the way towards the middle of that first half, being the minimum that Navy would need to try and put together a solid defensive comeback. They get that 8-4, and now it starts with a pistol, and they've been pretty good at pistol rounds in this series, so if they're able to win that pistol and then they can convert, unlike what they were able to do in the last half, that serves as a significantly better position to be in.
Stand by to get
map number 2, half number 2.
Now we're talking about Navy's defense, right? They're getting super aggro into A here. Like, they're just trying to take a lot of space early, like we see in most traditional kind of playstyles. Amura has been caught, so the goal for Amura is just to try and, you know, see if they can either get themselves out or get some info. They know where Taps is. Cosmic and Tobix to find it. Amura just hiding in this window position, gets the double. That's the bomb placed. Toge is going to shoot them back in the face, so at least it's a 2v2 retake.
Yeah, but Toge is super low, so KXC went huge on the defense. We have to see a similar approach on the attacking half, and Ringer, you're gonna get caught out, and the trade not even close to being there on time. It has to be this Tobix 1v2 and finds the first. This is doable.
And the second. First and the second grab, the defuse to come through. 8-4 picked up, and honestly here, this is what they needed. It comes 8-5. They get the pistol from the previous round to carry that momentum in.
I'm out of here.
Again, right? It's the pistol round. They keep finding their way into the lap of Navy, and you know, the first round that pistol wasn't as much of a concern as this one, because you have to convert this, and not only do you need any conversion, it needs to be clean, right? You need to lose as few guns as possible to make that bonus round that you're going to have as strong as possible. So you know, don't want to see any crazy aggro pushes. You don't want to see these players put themselves in untradeable positions.
Oh, I mean, speaking of an untradeable position right now, Tobix is just going really fast out here. Amura back towards window, and they dominated previously, so they're going to continue to go for cage-triggered plays. Found Fox to find the first as they fall back.
Good one and get out. I mean, nice little repeat, bring someone low, but Ringer finding that lurk in Cosmic towards B is huge, and you can see the
Ringer's going to peek again.
Oh, the timing.
Oh, they're going to pick up a gun. No, Wolf is going to prevent them from going at it. Fox is to get the trade on top of it, and now it's locked in.
Well, technically not, but for all intents and purposes, it is.
Technically,
So,
I mean, he was at 14 HP with a clap.
Technically, not Navy win the round. Excuse me.
Pretty cleanly, too.
Yeah, right. They only lose one. They're able to keep the majority of their weapons coming into round number 3. This bonus round, you know, you can grab a sheriff into Ringer's hands, and you know, Ringer, night and day difference in performance here, as well, having a beautiful showing in this you know, later stage of the first half into the second half here. You know, with the way that he's been shooting, I won't count him out of hitting a shot here.
Yeah, by all means too. Ooh, they're trying to punish this. Ringer immediately gonna pick up KO, and I was saying this, right? Like, I was just about to mention this classic knife that they've been dropping, and they're taking advantage of this. Navy not only has the numbers, but so much pressure out of mid that it's stalled out Void. Oh, it's okay.
Oh, that's a huge
okay.
pick. That's a huge pick. The C site is completely open. It not only equalizes, it also secures the plant, right? There's no way that Navy can try and fight for this space until the spike goes down. Look at where Amura is, all the way over towards A. So there's the plant coming in. The flank gonna start to speed up a little bit here from Amura, but there is a player watching it.
Oh yeah, look at this KXV. Look, the timing on Amura. It's gonna be rough. They fall back out of the flank. There's still 2 more coming, so the potential is there, but it's your sentinel. It's literally your flank watcher. So I don't think they should be concerned here. They have info on that. No timing. It should be a save from Navy.
Yeah, I mean, it's your bonus round, so you can argue to make it as, you know, damaging as possible. So there's this commit out garage that's gonna come through. Taps gonna be found, but Purge 4K out from long. Just perfect. Yeah, they lined up.
Huh?
What do you mean, huh? They lined up.
No, they did, yeah. I mean, I was just saying, like, I just want to say, they're feeding the ultimate now. Purge is going to be 2 away.
KXV, beautiful, beautiful plays. And the other thing as well that's concerning is the fact that, you know, Navy, you don't have a lot of room to work with. So at the very least, the fact that you're able to get 2 there, I think means something, but for 3, actually. It forces a majority reinvestment.
Oh, they're just going down mid yet again. This stun and the push. Tobix has so much space. They send out the relay to try to, you know, relay some information on their message. But all in all, this mid control that they're fighting for, it should work for them, I would say here, all things considered.
Well, they get the mid control, that's for sure. But the question is what they do with it. You can see, again, this advanced C lurk. This is just going to keep punishing Navy. If Foxes can find this, or Ringer, if either of them can shut this down, that's huge, because this commit into C, it's going to be here.
The timings are there. If they can get it. And that's what I was saying. Ringer is going to find it. The rotate is drawn towards C. So I'm happy that the map control, it wasn't like an immediate rotate out of Void. They still were like waiting for their pacing.
Yeah. Void, they got caught out. And so this A-hold from Amura, it comes through. I hope that he knows that the player short. I believe he does. And yeah, A-site gonna be the target here.
Oh man, but no, they just get bungeed out. Like a slingshot through Amura. Not a kill setup, but definitely for info to get them that. That's going to be more players found. Spike planted, so the retake will come through. They peppered up KO as well, so popping out of this might make sense. They're still worried. Like, look, Tobix is like afraid of a potential lurk coming out from this. But as the flood comes to fruition, these players are pushing in on a mission to get these down. Unfortunately, look who's winning out. Fox finds the double to get it down to 1v1, low HP, and Taps finds the to get the 10th. Double digits found for Void.
That's a huge round for Void to pick up. Navy forced down to an eco now. You know, the momentum, it was looking good for Foxes, right? Finds 2, could potentially find the 3rd, but just this jiggle game from Taps towards Hell closes things out, and you have this positioning now where Void double digits, 3 rounds left. You have the null command and the overdrive is like a nice little ultimate combo here to use for Navy. I mean, you have an overdrive of your own that you could potentially try and commit here, but it's felt very like one note on this defense. So Void are going to be expecting some sort of aggression somewhere on the map.
Yep, it's back out towards mid. It's been slow pressure towards mid, but it's been pressure towards mid. And I feel like there needs to be some sort of patience. This is reminding me of Lotus, but the flip side, right? You know, the differences between them. Oh, a TikTok setup being read into. What's it called? What was that? Was that Dingy? Was that the Wolf? Like, I mean, which setup was this from, you know, what YouTuber popped that setup?
Well, Whoever it was, it didn't work. But we've got some TikTok watchers in this server. So.
I mean, it was a 13-5 previously on Lotus, and right now it's definitely not going to be the same scoreline, but 13-6 is very possible. Taps is going to find Fox. The rest of the roster for this defensive line here is just going to try and flood in, but they again have Sheriff's Tobix on a clean shot, though, to prevent the Flawless from coming out, but they still have to climb a mountain here. Cosmic and Toge going to deny them that entry.
And Ringer, ambitious jump down, not going to find anything, and 11-6 is where we're sitting right now. I mean, at the very least, Navy, you can buy up full rifles again. You have most of your ultimates online, save the Rolling Thunder from Ringer. There it is. And I don't know. I mean, like, I guess if you're Navy, you try and commit to this A push and hope that, you know, Foxes isn't going to give up the C site as easily as he has, because that lurk that's just been consistently coming out from Void has just been so punishing, especially towards that C side of the map.
Yeah, they're taking that A space. We have a hopefully stronger hold for C. You even have Cypher there for the kind of B-C split. And Fox is going to find the opener on Taps.
Finds it through the smoke. That is huge. And the other thing that's, you know, now really great about this setup that Navy is running is that because of the advanced position of Tobix, all you really need to worry about is B, right? You know, you have the info for C. You have Tobix who's pushing all the way up towards A, but that's rough. That's gonna ruin everything. Buddy. Yeah.
I mean, because they had the numbers, they had a really good position, but the slow sort of discipline play out of Void not only got them that first pick, but also is gonna give them a lot of map control. Look at C, it's empty yet again, and who's lurking up it?
Yep. It's KXV, and KXV has been huge in this map. You can see the spike. Timings. It starts to rotate in. Garage control starting to slowly be found as well from Toge. The timing is just
they know where the camera is. They just know where the camera is, so they're playing off of it to try and get it before they pop. Fox is there though, potentially for the retake. They do have really solid ultimates. The problem is how fast can they deny it? There it is, the Hunter's Fury pop. I would say at a pretty good time to stop that ultimate. Amura taking advantage of the chaos on the site. It's going to be a double for their fight and for their troubles. They need to commit to this plan, but they're just being nuisances on this. A spam through onto KXV, who's going to fall yet again. Cosmic, though, is just looking to do some damage. Fortunately, it's not found. There's that 7-11.
I mean, in all fairness, damage was done, right? Navy only going to be able to have 2 players carry over rifles in this round. It's going to force a pretty major reinvestment here. The only saving grace for Navy is that the ultimate expenditures were not that expensive here in that round, right? You only lost the Hunter's Fury. You still have the overdrive available, Neural Theft still online, and you also have that Rolling Thunder available for a retake if you need it. And ultimately, I'm kind of scared though, because Void, you do have Viper's Pit online, and that if that gets activated at any point, I think that's just the win condition. Is get the spike down and activate the Viper's Pit.
Yeah, I mean the Viper is still really powerful, specifically for that reason, I would say. So all in all, I feel like if they just get like one lucky break within this fight, it's gotta be, you know, match point over. And so talk about a lucky break. They find the first, and they're not even going to, you know, take that space. They're not going through it. They're going to allow for the defensive positions to spread out yet again before they re-hit onto this A site. Look at it. They're gearing up for it. 2 towards short, 2 towards long.
Yeah, well, you're going to try and back up because, you know, you get the pick towards Garage. You think it's going to be a C site hit. No, all 5 of the Void players over here towards A. Lockdown goes in just to confirm the site is theirs. And, you know, the rotations, yeah, they can start to come back, but ultimately A is going to be, you know, denied for the defenders. They're not going to be able to stop this plant. Viper's Pit gets to go down all the way out towards CT. Wow. Rolling Thunder, it's not even going to hit Taps. So he's just sitting in this position, finds Wolf, but Tobix going huge, able to find one, needs to find one more.
I mean, at this point, it's good plays, but it's kind of locked in. Fox is going to find one on Cosmic, so that's going to be the Viper's pit. Tobix gets another. It's possible. They go for this ultimate. The spams come through. Out of short, they sneak up Toge to grab it, and that's going to be a loss. They spam it and find it. The match point invested. And you talked about a win condition. Even though the Viper's pit wasn't the key focal point, it still allowed them to get into these really solid positions and deny that timing. They were so uncomfortable for Navy.
Yeah, that's exactly the way I would explain it, right? The comfort factor for Navy on that retake. It was very rushed. They had to try and go now, and they weren't really ready. And so sure, Foxes and Tobix do a really good job at equalizing the numbers, but in that 2v2, you have no information to figure out where those last two players are. You can't get things closed out. And so now you have to do this 5-round run to try and bring things to OT. And Void, they still have the overdrive available in case they want to go fast, go now.
Go fast, go now, run around,
Ooh,
push in, have fun, do damage. Oh, these opening picks from Tobix are going to be huge. They get the 2-for-1 special. I mean, here's the thing though. Void can lose a couple rounds and still win the game, right? So Navy's going to be on the back foot every single time. So these risky plays, while they're flashy and cool, do stress me out. They're like, ooh, Tobix, you're going really hard.
Right. The problem is, though, is the more rounds that Navy get, the better, the easier time it's going to be for Navy to actually close out, right? So you want to try and end things as quickly as possible. So, and for Navy, you have nothing to lose, right? You're in a match point situation. And speaking of risk, Toge taking a arguably the biggest risk of the game.
All the timings though. Ringer has the read. At least it's something. They look in the right direction at the right time, and it's going to give them an upgrade for this site. There's only 2 players. That's going to be a relay bolt for relay bolt, a trade for trade, a spam through the smoke because they get flashed out of position. But look who Swords have, and they have themselves a brand new shiny toy that they want to play with. Tapso is on point. They have a 1v2 scenario. 10 seconds left. They need to get this bomb, and they need to get it planted fast here. They're going to go for the CT play. A right read at the right time could be the end of it, but the timing's there.
No time.
It's the 3K. There's no time for the plant here, is there?
Wait a minute. No, there is. There is
time. Keeps us in regulation, but guess who keeps us in? Amura is there to get the 8th round found.
But technically, Amura keeps us in regulation.
Yeah, that's what I said.
Didn't end.
I said didn't keep. I don't know, man.
Listen, it was crazy. I get it.
Emotions get for me, man. I'm like, I'm pretty sure I said Amura. I hope I said Amura keeps us. Play back the tape. Play back the tape.
Apps keeps us in regulation because planted the spike. That's what you said.
Okay.
Amura keeps us in regulation. But you're right. The fact that Taps was able to find so much there and forces that 1v1 is huge because look at the buy coming out from Navy, right? The Spectre in the hands of one of these players. Like, this is an eco round for Void. You should be able to afford to pull out this year, but it's not the case. And this continued kind of A-site hold, this A-main aggression that comes through can almost assuredly make sure the stack is somewhere else. And Amura just doubles down on those openers and drops the spike.
I mean, it is a weaker buy from Void, so it's to be expected, but at the same time, it just still feels rough. Tobix is feeling like on a tear from the previous game. They're like, all right, we're just going to push in.
Right here. Tobix is doing that kill onto Amura. Huge. The push in from Foxes. It's going to try and equalize, but it's Tobix instead to double things up. And Navy now at 9. Listen.
Okay.
Basic.
You start believing at 10, right? Double digits.
Basic stats would say that 9 is closer than 7. Closer to 12, that is. And I wouldn't start believing until it's 12-11. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like even 12-10 is a little bit misleading. But the Odin to come out from Wolf there is an interesting purchase. I don't know if that is. Yep, there it is. I like it. I'm a fan. I just, don't know necessarily where the play is for it. So I'm going to be excited to see.
Tobix again back here. Oh, Cosmic's just hiding in the corner. A spam from Fox, but they're playing a lot more disciplined here. I think Tobix has the read on them. Taps is going to find Amura. Tobix, if they go out here and they lose, it's going to be rough. They hide back in a corner. Have to have the crosshair just a little bit higher. They find it across again to KXV. That's the double invested. They invest their ultimate to try and, you know, pressure them off. Hopefully not overheat. Oh, it's over
to half.
Listen, it's overdrive, not overheat, right? Oh, finds one onto Toge, and they're just gonna wrap around the backstab on tabs for the 4K.
I'm out of here.
Finally, this Tobix push, you know, it's paying off, right? It didn't pay off in the first couple rounds of this half, but now it's really starting to heat up for this team. And this is a timeout that's taken from Void, and I think it's at a perfect time, right? You know, double digits has now been found by both sides. Navy have a considerable way back into this game. The only Void, I think, is down to an eco.
Yep. And I mean, at this point, right, they're down for an eco, so they're most likely talking not about this upcoming round. They're more likely talking about that 11-12 scoreline, round 24, where it's literally do or die.
Yeah, that would make sense. And the big thing as well now coming out from Void is in this round, you know, realistically, let's say you're playing for round number 24. You're playing to win this game 13-11. The point of this round and the goal of this round is to build up some ultimates, right? You want to get closer to the lockdown. You want to get closer to potentially the Viper's Pit, depending on which one is actually, you know, further along to being brought online. So yeah, I actually, in this case, you could go either way. But
yeah, they're getting some hero rifles.
Yeah, they have a hero rifle from Purge specifically, which makes sense. You know, it's just an economic powerhouse, 21 and 14. Definitely the MVP in the server right now, across both sides.
Yeah. But is a 1-star player going to be enough? Fox is just holding this with an op. I find this quite interesting. As like sort of a read, like a counter, like, yeah, let's run it up.
One suppressed.
Oh, that's huge.
Yep.
Yeah, nope, that's gonna cause some rotations here. You can see A site gonna be left quite open, and we're seeing that lurk come through. Cosmic already inserted towards short. So AXV can find something here. Would be huge. Or if Foxes goes down, this map is over.
Oh wow, Wolf is here. That's gonna be the first to be found. KXV falls, and that's gonna be that hero rifle out. Op comes out. They know the position of it. They're gonna run away. They do not want this fight. They do not want the smoke because there's literally a smoke in front of them.
But look, they're going back towards A, and they already have the site because of that lurk from Cosmic. So yeah, you know, you can give up C. You don't have to play for it. The rotations are there. You know, you saw that couple bits of presence towards B, but you know, Tobix can calm to the team all they want. It's not going to matter. That plant is still going to go down.
Look at this. They have the Hunter's Fury to deny space. On the flip side, they have the ultimate to like the KO ult, the null command. And there it is. It's going to get popped. Wow, can't use it. The perfect timing. We saw both of them come to fruition. Tobix is going to use theirs as well. That's going to be Mino falling. Look who's Toge! Stabbed Toge to find the double. Tobix is gonna get the trade on taps, but it might be over here. It's up to Toge. They have themselves a weapon. The stun to come through. Ringer's there. They find the one. Steps to keep us in the game.
I actually don't know how much closer that could have gotten, but Navy still able to push it across the line here, bring us all the way in regulation on map 2, make sure that Void are not going to be finding their way to map anytime soon.
Yes.
This was a masterclass, and it was those dueling flanks, Amura versus Toge at the very end, like we were talking about, that end up being that final duel in the round, but Amura can have that flank pay off. It just took a little bit too long from Toge, and now we're here, round 24. It's do or overtime.
Oh man. Oh, and look who finds the first. Is going to be Amura. It's going to be Amura. They find the first, a potential second on top of it. And if they can come back from this, that's going to be insanity. Cosmic is going to peek into the double. They fall back. That's the relay bolt invested, stunned up and got on top of it. KXV is going to be the only player to find a pick so far. We're trying to get a double here so they can equalize the player counts. The only ultimate that's available right now is from the shadows, so it could be used to, recover the bomb in a 1vx scenario, but it's still rather rough. They don't really have too much in terms of comeback mechanics here.
No, this is a really tough position for Void. Even though HP-wise, everyone's about even. Amura still having such dominant control over Garage, this very key section of the map. This is really huge. And so Toge gonna try and play off the fade of the smoke. Amura's tucked in, though, not giving anything away. Just now commit in 2 of these 3 remaining players for Void. They're gonna try and hit this C site here, and they know exactly where Amura is, but they just don't have a way to flush him out. They don't get any utility.
They don't have a breach. They break through the first. They find it. There it is. They even knew. They even were like looking at it, worried. The Toge TP is going to be devastating. And with no time and no players, it's going to be rough. The plant needs to go down fast. Purge. KXV fighting to stay. Purge. KXV fighting to it, but not locking it in. The aftershock to stick. We're going into overtime.
I can't believe it. I mean, I said I would believe it 12-11, but even then I was still a little concerned. And this just shows how dominant Navy's defense is. They're so coordinated as a team.
Overtime.
They are able to just get away with some outlandish things. And now a timeout coming out from Purge Navy to sit down and go, we went 4-8 on our attacking side. We need to replicate one of those 4 rounds, the 1/3 of that half, that 12-round half that we had. We need to replicate some magic because we're confident in our defense. What do we do?
Oh, man. Like, what do they do? Because I'm like looking at the defensive side, and the rounds that they won were just like they fragged out. They just like.
Yeah, I think the solution for Navy is to get Amura significantly more involved on these flanks, or not on these flanks. It really was a case where, a lot of the early game success that we saw coming out from Navy was off of Amura, right? The pistol round came off of Amura, finding really, really nice timing in Garage and being able to help the team frag out. So if you can loosen up Amura a little bit here, if you can not just group up as a 5, that is going to greatly help the attacking side here. But based on the way that the kind of comfort of the structure showed from Purge Navy, they might be a little afraid to do that, right? They might just want to group up as a 5, but even as a map of lurks.
Slow and steady, right?
Yeah.
Wins the race. At least in this case. I always say that as like a moniker, and it's like, yeah, I mean, realistically, that's what it does. They're the buddy system. I like the buddy system. Yeah. Oh,
look at this push from C. They have all the info they could ever need.
They're giving out some noise too on top of it, so the information should be gained, at least picked up, as soon as they break. That's going to be the first to break. They double up on this. Look at these guys. They're just holding. The Navy squad is ready for it. The paranoia comes in a little bit late, but the trades are found. The numbers are there. We also have an on-screen death. And look at this. Even though it was a little bloody, it was a little chaotic, Navy still comes out on top.
They come out on top. They get the player advantage. The C site fully open. Amura has the ability to gain so much space here. They're just waiting for Ringer to be able to stick that plant. And these last 2 players from Void, oh, they've got a mountain to climb.
Spike planted. My ult's ready.
Mountain to climb, indeed. Toge waiting to regroup together, and they're just playing for this spam. They knew that they win off of these fights, and look who has their ultimate. Ringer. I believe they picked up an orb and they got the plant, so all in all, it makes sense. Tobix is, able to run in almost immediately off of that ultimate, and you have the contingency for Amura as well. There it is. That's the defuse tapped ultimate invested. I think it's been read into, though. Look at Toga. No, Toga's been caught. Tobix to find him, and they're going to take this round. The spam from Tobix ringing true.
A beautiful round put together from Navy. They reach match point for the first time on Haven. I cannot believe it. We just saw a 7-12 comeback Well, it hasn't been finished yet, but
Yeah.
this is 6 in a row.
Six in a row.
Looking to be 7.
We're gonna be 7.
And now Navy's on the defense, right? This is the easier side for them. Tobix.
He's looking for something here. They're holding. This is the side that they want. I mean, they've done this time and time again. Is there going to be a counter here? Look, they've lurked up through the wall. Short's been taken. They're just waiting for the rest of it. I don't know if Tobix
The site's
is
clear.
aware. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they are aware. They could be pinched here from short.
They are.
Ringer pushes out. Yeah, that's the first found though. The frags are gonna ring true for Tobix. It's the trade to come out. Wow Wolf is gonna get 1 and 2 at low HP. They just need to tap them up and look at this. What became a pinch is now gonna be pinching onto them as Navy has the numbers. Wow Wolf to get the 3K, and it's just up to this final player who's just running at him, spamming them down. You know, he's just falling back as much as they can. 17 HP. It's over.
7 to 12 comeback completed for
Defenders
Purge
win.
Navy to go up 2-0 in this series. I mean, that is ridiculous. The mental fortitude you've got to have to be able to bring things across the line there is nothing short of phenomenal.
I'm writing notes down right now because I'm just like, this comeback needs to be talked about. And I'm looking at it, right? I have all the stats here because it started off with a dominant win here. It was 1-6 at the 8th round mark, meaning that the players had such an immense lead, specifically for Void. They were chilling. It was an 8-4 half, and like you even mentioned, 12-7. But then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rounds in a row to lock it in, and including the overtime match. That is probably the biggest sort of consistent round win we have seen. And if you take a look at Lotus as well, it is the biggest consistent consecutive round win. Consecutive, probably the better word there, for any of the teams. The only other one was 6 rounds at the very end of Lotus, where Navy was able to win out. So Navy, breaking their own record, has just shown us how strong of a roster they are.
Yeah. And now we're in a position where things start to look really bad for Void, right? I think that was their map pick of Haven. It doesn't go their way. We now move on to Ascent upcoming, which, I mean, that is truly a battle of mechanics. And something I want to mention, actually, about Lotus was the fact that we saw a really big turnaround from Tobix, right? At the very start of this map, or not Lotus, Haven, sorry. At the start of Haven, we saw Tobix have a little bit of an underperformance. Was the bottom fragger going into that defensive half for the side of Purge Navy? And so then throughout that defensive half, we saw plays didn't really work out. But towards the end, he really started to heat up, and he ended Haven as the match MVP, right? ACS,
Ooh.
really solid 272, went 25 and 19 in the KD, 4 first bloods, only second to Taps with 6 first bloods. I mean, this was just a solid, I guess, reevaluation of his game, right? Going into that second half, I have to give him credit for being one of the driving forces alongside Ringer for really being able to build their way back into that map. And I definitely would credit those two players with being able to bring things across the line for Purge Navy.
I think before we head off, I want to just mention the play of the game for me here, because it feels like there are play of the game moments in this match. Was where you harped on about the whole regulation thing, when it was just came down to the wire. Regardless of it, it was so chaotic, and the insanity, I would say the intensity of that moment was kind of like, okay, this team was able to clutch it up, and specifically Asuma, was able to clutch it out in that moment to just give the momentum and pressure to that squad. So after that, it's almost like even the morale and just the whole vibe sort of sunk down, like it's slumped into this sort of like lower place that you don't want to go to as a team. So hopefully after this break, when we come back, we're going to see some uplifting moments. This is the first non-3 site map. We're going to Ascent. So stay tuned for a potential comeback or a 3-0 victory. We'll see you then.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Purge Esports third team decider match. My name is Ancient Angel. Here with me is Nerds Corner, and we are halfway, approximately, through this best of 5. It is 2-0 right now for Purge Navy. Purge Void still have a significant way to build back into the series. If they even want to equalize, they would need to take the next 2 maps in a row just for us to see map number 5. Speaking of, the first of those next 2 maps is Ascent.
Honestly, I want to see Chamber. I
Really?
want to just bring out Chamber. We're gonna be seeing, like, if we see KO Jet, KJ Omen, I'm gonna be understanding, but the hype is just gonna be like, I want to see that. You have bad news for me? Oh no,
Yeah.
did they already lock in?
No, I just know for a fact we're going to be seeing the default.
I'm
Maybe.
I'm sorry, you killed me there for a second. What did you say?
Sorry.
I didn't
No,
hear
we're gonna-
that. I didn't hear that.
Oh, we're going to be seeing the default comp.
Oh, my heart.
I know. We all hate it, but it's just what's effective,
Yeah.
right? Especially for the side of Purge Void. I think it makes sense that they're going to be running just the standard default comp. It's the only real change I could see is maybe bringing in a breach, but even then, it just doesn't really track. I think with overall how these players are and where their confidences lie, the default comp makes sense for them. I think maybe for Purge Navy, there's a chance that we see something a little bit more unique, but that wouldn't really come from a chamber. It would probably be the Cypher Death. Just, it's going to be what works on this map. And chamber, while really cool, you know, I think
it'd
we
just
all
be
love
fun,
chamber.
man.
Would be
just
fun.
be fun.
Not
That's
likely.
why I wanted to. It would just
I mean,
be fun. Straight
Listen,
up.
I think you could join Purge Navy.
Yes! Oh my god! Yes! Thank
so-
you!
So default comp actually from Purge Navy, and from
I
Purge Void, it's the
know!
Cypher Deadlock.
Yeah! Spicy! Oh, things are heating up! I'm excited! Oh my god! The room
these
just
are-
got like 5 degrees warmer. Holy.
I don't know. I mean, these are like both pretty standard comps.
Okay, but it's different, dog. They're always it's like always mirror comps, and I get so bored. So I'm happy that we're seeing this. Isn't this the I was gonna say, is this the Sentinels comp like John QT?
Basically, just replace
Yeah.
the Jet for the Yoru.
Exactly. So it's like, and see, that's another difference that at least makes this sort of less of that monotone sort of default in play. Oh, we could be seeing a really funky lineup here from Taps on the Void squad. Please do some like extra shenanigans here.
Just trying to play off of the execute that comes through. There's the flash, the double peek gonna go in, but Tobix and Amura still able to find those picks. But eventually, it's Cosmic and Taps that are able to just completely dominate that ace site push. And
Oh,
now
look who's coming from the back
1v2,
though.
It's Amura.
Why do I still believe in Amura? Like, I want Void to win just because I want this sort of crazy comp to like dominate and people get so confused as to why it works. But Amura has
30
a
seconds left.
potential timing on these players if they just go quiet into this. Footsteps are going to be made. That's the spam first and Cosmic to win it. Void's going to find the first with the wacky comp. Very exciting stuff.
That's so tragic for Amura, not being able to close things out there. It's the first ever pistol round. Fun fact: first ever pistol round to not go the way of Purge Navy.
It's because they went with a traditional comp. Could have brought Amura
Yeah,
should have just been
should've-
on Chamber.
Yeah, I was gonna say no. Navy should have just gone 5 chambers: chamber, brim, clove. You know, maybe a sky in there. Yeah, that would work.
Just all the off-meta agents.
Yeah.
I want to do a tournament where it's like only the lowest picked agents are allowed to be played, but doesn't matter. Tobix is already on the site, a free gun in hand as Cosmic wins the fight on one more. It is going to be the eco by Toge is going to fight it. Wolf finding a pick, so they should get themselves at least an upgrade to a Guardian here, but the numbers advantage is falling in favor of Void, as well as some potential weaponry advantage. Flash is equalized for both sides as Cosmic goes for the fight. Taps to find the first, but there it is! That Guardian that they picked up earlier going huge as Ringer finds the 3K. They might swing this into their favor. That's going to be XKV found. Oh man, KXV is now going to be fighting for this. A 1v1. The shots get whipped. 13 HP. Ringer needs to fall back. Play that timing. You need to win this if you want to try and sway it in your favor. But a tap to your legs can be all that it matters. GG for Navy.
I can't believe it. It's now the second time in this series we've seen the team win the pistol and not convert. It's insane that Navy is now in a position where they're looking to absolutely run away with this half. Ringer just gets to keep this Guardian into this round, has 4,000 in the bank. Void, they're all going to be on to pistols, just a couple sheriffs, specifically in the hands of Taps and Purge. The only thing that's like the saving grace for Void is that with their comp, they can run a lot of really nice traps. So, you know, for Navy, you still have to be a little bit concerned that you don't get caught out.
Oh yeah, but all in all, yeah. And talking about traps, almost immediately we see the kills coming in for Cosmic through the smoke here. They're just lining these players up and shaving them down. It's pretty good though. Tobix has the heaven position, needs to fall back because their information has been gained. So much info that it's honestly working for them. It sways in their favor. Towards hell though, it's gonna be the double to be found. Taps with a sheriff in hand to lock it in. They're just stuck in hell here as the rest of the team falls through. The fake gonna try and catch them off guard. Tobix with the 1-2, but not the 3. It's 3 for Taps as they get the retake. And I think it's gonna classify us as a thrifty again. Back-to-back thrifties.
Yeah, that from Navy. I mean, listen, we talked about the trap plays. Void showing it perfectly, right? You use the Cypher tripwire through the smoke, you find one. You use the grav net from KXV, you find the second. That's how you gain that numbers advantage. And then there, it's a 5v3. Amura gets caught off towards A main. And from there, the last 2 players are both stuck in him. It's the easiest retake at that point. Now, again, economy is fully swapped around. No one knows what's going on. Navy's on all sheriffs. And we're seeing this, you know, new trap play setup with the Yoru towards B. And hey, attackers can use trap plays too.
Why are just like the pistols dominating right now? It's the sidearm supremacy.
It has to do with like the kind of confidence, right? When you have that sheriff, or not the sheriff, when you have the Vandal, you feel a little bit more liberated to make more individualistic plays. And so oftentimes the smarter play will end up winning, especially if those sheriffs can still hit the headshots, right?
Of course, of course. And right now, I mean, they're pushing through towards mid. They have those sheriffs in hand. Cosmic's on the other end, waiting for the timing. Catches one on Amura. That's going to be their rifle out. Really solid play. Picked up yet again, but look at that dimensional drift being invested. So info gained. Ringer is aware of it, potentially to be found as the dimensional drift falls apart. They are pushing in. Look at this Fox in the corner to be the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Planted.
2 players on the site. Dimensional drift has been invested already. Tobix looking to see if they can get a pick. Not a sneaky angle of some kind, but it's just a slow burn, right? Oh no. It's the backstab yet again. It's over, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, Wolf could get one, and that would be really good, you know. Sends out the recon dart, gets, you know, a couple scans, but unfortunately no kills. And yeah, Benno, not even gonna let you get one there. Finds that frag, brings things across. It's back, or not back-to-back thrifties, thankfully. It's, you know, Void finally being able to convert around that they're supposed to win.
Returning to
back-to-back thrifties would have been wild.
Back-to-back-to-back? Yeah, crazy.
Back-to-back-to-back. I mean, with the amount of backstabs and backshots we saw, I wouldn't be surprised all in all. It's 3-1 here, and it's 2 defuses for the retakes here for Void. They're starting to get their groove back, and we're starting to equalize in terms of the normal ebbs and flows of Valorant.
And I think it's that kind of normal ebb and flow that you're talking about that is leading to the overall, I guess, stabilization that we're going to see. And you know, the big thing for Navy is Ringer has that null command online, and it's just going to go straight towards A.
I mean, they're going into it already, right? They have the null command to walk out for. Wolf is going to find the first. That's another for Tobix. They spam through. Cosmic's going to get it through the smoke. The plant goes down. Numbers are there. Amura is holding it down in tree to reposition themselves. It's going to be a spam through, a fake, And there we go. 3 players left alive to find the second.
Yeah, that is the Navy that I remember. Being very confident, very individualistic. Amura on the lurk, able to find a lot of value, make sure that that retake is just not going to be possible. Apps tries to do some sort of a play to initiate the retake out towards hell. It doesn't work. That's a very confident round. And speaking of, because of the way that these ultimates have cycled themselves, you're going to see essentially a copycat play where you just immediately go rush towards that A site, but this time you have the lockdown and the Hunter's Fury.
Get out of my way.
Bladestorm invested into this. They also have some ultimates. Immediately that lockdown's going to get popped. And at this point, it should be Navy's round, but look at where we have this fight coming through. Taps just missing away. Both players see it out. The trades to come through. But the site's been taken. The plat's going to go down. They use these ultimates for entry, and hopefully they can have some more value out of it. I mean, Tobix with the Bladestorm is going to go up into it, but Cosmic spots them. They call for it, and Purge, KXB, is playing off of it. These players stuck towards heaven, using their ultimates to spam through on. They position themselves back into hell. And I mean, they're really doing a good job here for Void of coordinating them, coercing them to be down here. But unfortunately, the shots ring through with the bullets, and the weaponry is going to win out.
It's again those ultimates that come through. Navy just do such a good job at saying, okay, we're going to use like 1, maybe 2 ultimates in this round. We win the round, right? They use the null command last round, works perfect for Ringer to be able to entry out onto the site, disables all the utility, and completely dismantles the hold. This round, it's Amura's lockdown and the Bladestorm from Tobix to do it. And now we still have the Hunter's Fury alive from Wolf to potentially use as sort of an entry kit. Realistically, with the way that Navy have been playing, they might want to consider saving it for, you know, delay for the retake.
Oh, that trap's gonna get caught, and so is Tobix. Unlucky.
Yeah. Yep. Unfortunate, and that's kind of a huge opening pick to go the way of Void, especially considering the kind of economic straits they're in. So sure, you're able to get the plant, but there's still a Hunter's Fury available, an Annihilation. Like, there's a ton of ultimates that you could use in this round to, you know, continue to really cement the player advantage you have.
Time ticking away at Odin towards logs is still going to be deadly as they're waiting for it. The paranoia going to stop them. Tap's going to take advantage of the timing as they find it. They are spamming through. It gives them the Annihilation. It's not going to find much. The trades come through and these head taps are landing. Look at this. Void has the numbers. It's just up to Ringer in the back line to try and slow them down. The timing is going to be rather thin. The spray down starts as the defuse gets locked in, and I think they just barely don't have time.
No, they got it.
A 0.48. Holy.
Half a second. But they got it. They got it through. Void gets a thrifty. This is what, the third that we've seen so far in this map?
Yes, third thrifty we've seen.
Ridiculous. I'm at a loss for words, but Navy is still in a pretty decent position, right? They're going to be able to, I believe, buy a crossbow rifles here, save for Tobix, who's probably going to end up being on like a Stinger or something. Or maybe it's Wolf to just trade over the guns. And you have the null command available. Hunter's Fury also ready to be used at a moment's notice. And you got the kind of power ultimate out. The Annihilation from Void is gone.
I mean, they use it to secure themselves around, so it's not the worst case scenario here, but all in all, there's still 2 more ultimates for Navy. That could be very potent on this site take.
Amura's lurk here is so powerful. You don't push out and die. Oh, well, never.
If you don't, if you maintain that space, but they push out and they get over eager into it. Now Toge has the lineup here, gets one more. So look at this, it's a 4v3 retake, pushing in. The numbers equalize yet a little bit for the moment, but they're just losing in the fight. And as they try to shift the pacing so they can get aggro, they're losing, they're not winning. And because of that, the numbers just still stagnate in favor of Void. That net is going to catch one, give him position, slow them down a touch more.
Flash from Ringer. Not gonna find anything just yet. Ends up going towards the cyber cage into hell. Does get heard, but still finds Benno. But there's the trade. KXV gets it, and Cosmic spam things down for the end. 5-3 is where our scoreline sits right now. And again, it just feels like Void is kind of untouchable. Like their retakes are just super solid, and we're seeing a lot of, for lack of a better word, consequential plays coming through from Navy.
I mean, I'm just thinking about it. We know Navy's good on the defense, and they do have the standard comp, but I also feel like this comp from Void is going to be very solid on the offensive. If you think about it, right? Cosmic is going to have a really solid time, not only in terms of frags, but also just because they can set up their utility and walk away from it across the map, unlike KJ. So there's a lot more counterplay to it, as well as Deadlock being more active. Now, I think Navy needs to pick up the pace. Right? If they can't pick up that if they can't pick up the numbers and rounds here on the attack side, it can be even harder for them on defense, even though they are a very solid defensive team.
Play from Toge here in towards the back of the site, inside of their own smoke. There's the swing from Tobix, though. Gets things out for that first opening frag. And Navy now going to be in a great position post-plant wise. You have that null command. You have the Hunter's Fury also
the
available.
crossfire.
With a judge too.
It's going to be rough here. KX is going to find the first. There's that judge on Fox. It's going to be traded out as Cosmic is trying to look for it. They want to pop their ultimate. They look for the opportunity and they get it. The numbers falling in favor of Void right now. As they're just spamming through hell, Tobix is looking to see if they can get it. They do. They're getting bullied out of position. You are in the dimensional drift, but it doesn't matter, Taps. The timing isn't there. They're trying to keep these players on the site within the fight. Tobix to grab you.
That's insane play from Tobix. I'm at a loss for words. You're getting looked at directly from a dimensional drift. There's a player in heaven with an Odin, and you're the one to win that fight against that player with the Odin. That should never be the case, but here we are. And, you know, Amura being able to do that 1v1 perfectly against that Cypher in towards tree, keeps things calm, keeps things stable. You know, Cosmic being a really solid, like, indomitable force here on the side of Void for this match, but one better.
Oh, man. And they're walking in. Oh, getting picked off yet again. A 1-for-1, though. Really solid Deadlock utility being used here as Taps is trying to push in. And if they, you know, just the timings were a little tighter, it could have gone the other way. But Navy has the weapons.
Oh, the reload.
It's not gonna cost them too much just yet, but you know, being back down in wine has been a thorn in their side. Cosmic whips, unfortunately, and there's that confidence from the Vandal that you like to see.
Now this is Amura finally coming back online here. That was a beautiful 3K out to equalize these rounds, and this is, you know, about as close of a half that we've seen so far in this series, right? We saw the 7-5 on Haven. We could be seeing it again here. They still have the Hunter's Fury available for Wolf. Benno as well. Neither of these players have used their Hunter's Fury at all within this map. So this is quite the interesting little game that they're playing.
Oh, the spam through yet again. It's gonna pepper them up. Finds one through it on top of it. This fight in mid from Taps is working out yet again. Spike down, and players still alive though. The TP in along with the Yoru clone.
They heard it.
They heard the TP, and they, you know, the Yoru clone, whether it's fake or real, it's gonna be caught through. Fox is gonna catch Taps, gives him an upgrade in terms of some weaponry, or at least in terms of bullet count.
That's 3-on-3 now. So this A site gonna be open. It's gonna have to be these sensors to find something, but KXV only gonna be able to go 1-for-1.
Cosmic catching the players but not catching the shots, unfortunately. That's the spike going down, and looking at it, they don't have too much. The Hunter's Fury coming out a little late. I almost wish they held on to it, because you couldn't deny that plant. You do also see Navy, they have a future lockdown available for them. So at this point, they're getting into their post-plant positions down towards hell. They have a solid amount of space. You need to clear things through. It's gonna get spammed out regardless. They know the position of one. That's Tobix to take it down, and it's gonna be Navy to lock it in there on low HP, so a double could be found. Cosmic is gonna spam through, just tapping around towards heaven. There's that cage. They make themselves a path forward. I don't know if they know
They
the
have to
position of
stick.
Fox. That's the tap.
No
they
time.
have to stick it. Pros don't fake. But Cosmic isn't going to go for it, trying to catch the timing onto Fox. Wait, I feel like they could have at least gotten the half. They could have even stuck it there, I think.
Yeah, it just...
Last round. before the
No,
switch.
actually. You would have had to... The timing would have been perfect where Cosmic gets the half and then immediately gets off. Fox's immediately peaks, and then Cosmic would be able to stick it. Like, the timing was just too tight. So, it was perfectly set up for Navy to win that basically as soon as Cosmic dropped down. But Navy now in a position, like you mentioned, there's no Hunter's Fury available, so that lockdown from Amura is just going to go down perfectly free. It's just going to be an ult rush over towards this B site.
Oh, they're going to pop this lockdown in the perfect spot to flush out B, keep the players off. It is an empty site where they have the trap set up, and Cosmic is playing off of it, which is huge for them. But at the end of the day, it still is a difficulty. There's that, teleport from the shadows to go in. Toge on a soul redefine ringer, and Tobix is just pushing in. It's Toge and Tobix, and Toge's gonna win it out, pull them to their grave, annihilate these players. They didn't even need the Hunter's Fury just yet, but look who has their Hunter's Fury. It's going to be Wolf. Wow, Wolf, seeing if they can wow us here. They can't, unfortunately, and the numbers advantage falls in favor of Void. They have the player count, but they need to get this timing. Otherwise, the stall will be a little too strong. Spam through. Fox is the first, and they lock it in. The defuse comes 6-6 on the board.
Well, 7-5 map 1, 4-8 map 2, 6-6 map number 3. A decent showing from both of these teams.
Switching
For
sides.
Void, you're a little happy that you're able to grab that last round, keep your momentum and your spirits high into this second half, where you're in a really tough position because now the onus is really going to be on Tapped to make a lot of the space for this team, right? There's no one to really set him up besides Benno, right? All of the flashes, it's going to be Tapped. The info is really the only thing that Benno can give you, and other than that, you have to make a lot of the onus yourself. So we're going to see if Taps can really have a true star performance here, or if Navy can just capitalize and then collapse upon this Void offense.
And I mean, just like that Sky, right? You're getting some early info before you flood out into an area. You're talking about it previously, so I mean, curiosity always gets the best of me to see, how to utilize this utility. Tobix avoiding the flash and waiting for the timing. They get the double.
Ooh.
No, I mean, I was gonna say they double flashed into the commit on the area, but it seems like Void is just winning out, and this could be another situation where on Ascent we see a change of pace of who wins the pistol.
Cutting through.
Void just looking to try and play things out here. There's the first shot from Amura, though. Able to, at the very least, try and build some momentum. And there's Ringer all the way towards Hell. Finding Taps turns things into a 1 versus 3. This is doable in the rotations. That's what's going to come through. So the plant going to go down on B. It's going to be up to Ringer to try and find Cosmic, who's been lurking over towards this A side, and then secure the 1v2 retake.
Possible and probable are two different
30
things. The
seconds
timings are
left.
very slim.
no.
Cosmic catches it. Go for honestly, I would say for the knife would be funny, but for the reality, you just need to go for the security here. Cosmic gets it. That's gonna be the first found again by Void. They've gotten both pistols here.
Movement.
And that is huge. And I think the more concerning part at this point is getting this round, because it's about 50-50 as to whether or not teams will actually be able to take this second round. So if this is arguably the more concerning round, especially considering Amura, known headhunter, especially back on Lotus, Sheriff in hand. Tobix has a frenzy as well to try and play really aggressive over towards tiles. So if any of these players get caught off guard.
Oh, all of mid is empty. They're just rushing in, like trying to clear that space. Tobix knows, okay, there's at least a little bit of info. Cosmic gonna catch one out here. And there it is, the Flash lineup to get things started. Flash through, TP on. They're on this site already. They do not want to, nor should they give up a single weapon here. It's going to be KXV to find the 3 with the Guardian here. Another eco ace would be very funny, but now Vino gets the one on their own. And, you know, we don't see the Thrifty coming out here. It was just 3 at the beginning of the game, and that's it.
Oh.
Gun here.
Yeah. No Thrifty this time. Instead, it's just going to be a couple picks going the way of Navy, and that's all they're going to be able to grab. Now moving into this full rifle round, or what is supposed to be a full rifle round, you can see a couple compromises have to be made, right? Light shields from Amura and Tobix, Bulldog out for Ringer. This kind of concern is going to be brought up where, because you're not sitting with a full kit in this round, is there potentially a ton of damage that Void can do to your economy, and then your round 4 buy is super weak?
It's all about making sure that you can win the game and not just the round, right? Because for Navy right now, they win this game. It's 3-0, it's donuts, it's deuces. You're ready to go home. You can chill, relax. You're on the team, you're on the squad here. They're in the power play position.
Tobix, he's one. There's the Flash to at the very least take the space. Amura finds Cosmic in mid.
Oh, and there we go. The push to come through yet again. Taps is going to get another. Not the second, though. The trouble brewing at your footsteps. Super low HP, I would say, on Tobix, and they fall. And now it's 3v3. Ringer is on the site, looking to see if they can fight off these players, but they just push straight in. Void has the numbers, but from the backside, it's Big Bad Wolf, as Wow Wolf is coming out with the double. They need to go for this plant. Spike picked up information gain. That's a Vandal upgraded. That's Tap to try and bait these players.
No way!
The Toga! Tap to lock it in. That bait.
Yeah. This is the second time that we've seen Navy lose a 1v2 clutch like this, where like the timing is just like a little off, and they essentially just swing in one by one, and that hurts because now Void sitting 9-6 scoreline. This is not like Haven, where you know you're on like a side that is like significantly easier for you. Like this map is essentially as dead even as it comes.
I mean, sitting at here, right? 9 and 6. Navy has a standard comp. They, you know, have been really strong on these other 2 maps, right? And now they're starting to lose out. Is that 3-site weakness?
No.
Wonder.
Over there.
I'm just getting read into a little bit now. Oh, this hold.
Oh, what a dink from Amura.
You know that's 145, and it's like, that's frustrating. A Vandal to hit. Amura has been caught into this. They're just going to hold on to it, but a stray bullet can land into them. Toge going to find Tobix. That's going to be the net broken and the plant down. Nana Swarm infested by Amura. They're going to pop it as Cosmic is just holding their trip, waiting for the people to flood on out. Wow Wolf being cautious of a potential corner. Look who's at low HP. It's KXV playing out of main. They catch one. What a timing to behold. Toge falling back, not wanting to get sprayed through. Taps to get a Murra and Toge to get another. It is a save from Navy, but they had Sheriffs, so the high hopes were there as the walk-up comes to. Maybe getting KV here would be good. KXV to fall, and the trades to come through.
Taps and Toge close things out. 3 to 5 in the numbers in terms of yeah. No, this is a good timeout coming out from Navy. The fact
They're
that
just losing too much.
Yeah, and it's this kind of lack of coordination that we're seeing from them. Like, it feels a little bit individualistic right now, so it makes sense to just try and focus up, make sure that everyone's on the same page. We're not missing, you know, really basic timings. And the other thing as well that you need to start worrying about is these ultimates that are coming online, because Void already has the Hunter's Fury, has the Annihilation. Those could absolutely get popped on an execute. You need to be aware of that. You need to try and really mix up where you're playing on these sites, because the last thing you need to be is like, let's say you're the A anchor, you're going to be playing by dice. Annihilation comes your way, you're playing alone on the site. There's no one to save you. So you really need to be aware of those kind of certain situations, because last thing you want is to essentially give your life away and then your team has to play a retake without the numbers.
You know what happened last time when they were down to the dumps? They managed to bring it back up. So I'm not going to count Navy out yet.
Oh, for sure.
Because I want to give them some benefit of it. But I do want to give Void their stars, and I want them to just win it. Take us to game number 4. Showcase some of your prowess, because it is two teams that are like, fighting for a spot to be on a roster, to be on the, to be one of the two main teams, right?
I think 3, but yeah.
Oh, this is for the third team?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
It just goes to say, Purge have the sharing all the love. 3 teams total.
Time to jump.
Well, not all, because, but all these ultimates that come through, I mean, this is pure chaos, and unfortunately, Ringer taken out. Still 3 players on this A site.
It's because of that dimensional drift. The combination between the two has been so potent here. Fox breaks the dart as they want to hold this double up from tree and on these boxes. They don't push into A here.
No, they're going to take a little bit of time. They're going to try and, readjust the map. Potentially, this cut noise is being used to, pull these rotations away, which is exactly what's happening. Tobik's starting to leave the site. This puts Foxes in a really tough spot where you're going to have to be in charge of both A main and tree
30
here.
seconds left.
On this push out, presumably at about 25 seconds. 20 seconds.
20 seconds it is.
Yep.
As we see the dart coming out here, it's going to be blocked through yet again. That's a double found for Void, and at this point, they have the momentum. It's swayed in their favor. Cosmic pushing into this, but it's going to be Wow Wolf to find them. 10 seconds on the board, and the plant's already down. The refresh to 45 as this team needs to find something. They can't, though. They only have an Initiator and a Sentinel, so we're going to see Amura needing to pop off like crazy here if they want some sort of change. Wow Wolf on no utility, as it seems like almost an inevitability of what's going to happen with Void. They just have really solid positions here. They have 2 back, 1 towards Hell, and 1 playing Generator. How do you break into this site? You can't.
You don't. You don't break in. You save your rifle. You've been economically just beaten down this entire half. There is no reason to try and, risk that Vandal being lost again. So Amura takes, in my opinion, correct decision, saves that rifle, tries to get a little bit active here this time in round number 18. This is...
when I said we should have a, get ourselves a chamber or something? I mean, maybe I was right.
I don't know, because
I'm not, but I'm just memeing.
If you don't have the chamber, like if you don't have the killjoy, then you don't have like all this ability to stall out the site hits. You don't have the lockdown for the retake. I mean, Amura's gonna get active. Amura is Amura, and the aim will always be there. But I think the onus is really gonna be on like Tobik, for example, with this operator, Marshall more specifically.
I mean, I hit the headshots. It's basically the same thing. Unfortunately, the head's not going to land, and that's going to be a 4v5. And they haven't had the best time on these retakes towards A, and all the information has been given to them. Oh, golly, for me, a Christmas present? It's like handing out candy on trick-or-treaters, It's the one for you, you. We know exactly where you're going to be. You're going to be out here on the site.
I mean, there you go. Couple try and re-engagements here, but Amura's gonna fall. At least Wow Wolf can get the trade, make things manageable. Ringer and Foxes have to try and re-engage now. 1 from Heaven, 1 from Tree. Wow Wolf and Ringer out towards Heaven, able to trade things out still, but it's a 1 versus 2 now as Ringer's dropped on the site. Has that Sheriff still in hand. Headshots is all that's needed, but the wrap was gonna be there. So Toge can swing out under the safety of the trade, and Void at match point.
So if you count the previous round, the very last round of the previous half, that is 7 rounds in a row picked up here by Void, who have, slowly found themselves trying to beat the record of consecutive round wins here for one of the teams on this best of 5. All in all, though, with the momentum that they've been having, I feel like they break through. They get that 8th round in a row. Tobix is going to go fast and find one early, but I don't think it's going to be, the end-all be-all here.
No, that will start stabilizing
spike
the
down,
boxes.
B.
Make sure
Over there.
that the man advantage stays in the hands of Purge Navy.
I mean, they have 4 ultimates online. They literally have every single ult, I believe. So all in all, it's a matter of how Navy can come together here.
I mean, Purge Navy, they have 4 ultimates. So realistically, at this point, it's not even about making a hero play. It's literally just about staying back for 1 second, playing off of the utility that's already down, and then just using those ultimates and winning the round, right? Like, you have 2 really strong ultimates for the retake online. You have the lockdown, you have the null command. The time is not really going to be on Void's side, so they're going to be a little rushed coming into the site here.
But it's slow and steady, right? They're going to slowly walk into it, and look at the trap laid. It's all that Sentinel utility from KJ here. The TP on Toge getting peppered up at 17 HP. They're low, and it seems like the round win record is not going to be stuck in here. Toge falling to a fragment that's been placed. This ultimate goes out, and there it is. Cosmic to shoot back down. Last player standing. It's going to be KXB. They fall, and it seems like I must have cursed it, because now the 7th found for Navy.
If I had a nickel, that's all I'm going to say. Nothing more.
You would have 1 nickel. You would have 1 nickel.
That's true. I would. But 12-7, it's been happened before. And technically, when you look at round win streaks, I mean, Void has tied Navy at this point, right?
Speaking of
7
nickels,
in a row.
if I get a nickel for every time Navy comes back, and I have 2 nickels right now, I'm going to lose my mind.
Well, you don't have 2 nickels right now. You would have 2 nickels if Navy comes back and wins this map.
Huh?
Huh?
All right, guys, let's practice our vocabulary here. Going back to the basics, Navy has all their ultimates. I feel like they're just gonna play it, hopefully very basic strategy. Allow that Sentinel to hold A while they work the stack towards B and rotate out. Hopefully not too early, but early enough that they can try and catch some players off guard.
Yeah, they keep things super light, at least here at the start of the round. No real heavy, fast sort of plays. It's all super slow, trying to be as methodical as possible in these clears. Eventually, though, they want to start to speed things up. So A site going to be focused upon, at least for a second. It's going to draw some rotations, and Obix's Bladestorm has just been carefully perched up heaven. This could be huge for the side of Purge Navy.
Especially if they can catch those timings. Dart coming in, slow and steady. I mean, they're just playing very chilled right now, right? Kind of like putting something on ice to let it wait out. 30 seconds is going to be the last one. Tobix to heat things back up as the grill starts to cook, and Cosmic to get the trade, so the numbers are there. As there's the plant. Hunter's Fury invested, and the lockdown. They're going double dipping onto this. Amura looking to see if they can find this pick. They get it. That's the pick found. The plant to go out for it. Bladestorm to land. And look at this. Toga is going to get caught. That's 1 player found. The bomb not down. And it's going to be the 8th picked up for Navy.
Nope. Toga's not going to die, though. So at the very least, it's a couple of rifles carried through. The play from Navy, it worked really well. The only concern is the fact that a lot of those ultimates are no longer on the board. And you can see that Void know this, and they feel like this round is the prime position to be in to close things out.
Timeout. Perfect. It's like every like. Let me look back here. Let me just double check. Am I getting this right? Yeah, I mean, they timed out a couple of times, like every 4 or 5-ish rounds, especially in the later halves of the game for both teams. So seems like they at least have some of that vibe to come through, especially Void knows that if they're starting to get, pushed back a little bit, they will time out preemptively to try and fix some of these issues that they've been having. And so far, it just seems like the amount of just shots and patience that Navy has for retakes. They're winning the opening fights and they're being like, hey guys, we just need to play a bit more, disciplined. We are on literally a basic, the basic strategy team. It's the, standard composition. We leave KJ to lock down a site. We push out of a different site. Although right now, it seems like they're changing this pace. They have a lockdown with KJ, and they have 2 players pushing out Tree, whereas B's left open. It could be a read here for Navy, and it might work for them considering that Void is there.
Well, and the other thing as well is Tobik's operating, right? Over towards Pat has so much control over mid here. This rotation coming in from Ringer to try and help out Amura here in towards the back of A is huge. And so all that utility, it's going to get used. Flash looking to head out for taps as well as the teleport deep onto the site.
Oh, but Ringer's going to grab the first regardless, and there it is. Oh, Taps wins that. That is crazy that they win that. The plant's going to go down pretty fast this time. Talk about a pace change from slow to fast. It's not going to help them, though. They're peppered up and seasoned. Look, there's low HP for 2 of their players.
And they're all on site. There's no main control to be worried about. So all the ult is going to do is just add for good measure that Benno is only going to be able to find one. Tobix picks up the Vandal on the site, but gets dropped, and now it's all up to Wolf, and he gets the 3K. Can he get the revive too? No,
no time.
No, they have
wait. No, they don't. They literally had to make the decision because it doesn't like. Here's the thing, they had the time, but because they made the decision to defuse, they had to stick the defuse. Because if they had that sort of like, am I gonna get it? Am I gonna get it? Then it would have been like, it would have been over.
Don't give them time to reposition.
Yeah, they had time initially to get both, and then the stick was like long enough there from Wolf that like it can't come through. You're right. But still, for Navy, they're able to bring across the round. Tobik still can carry over that op here into round number 20. Or 22. Oh my goodness. This is
caution here.
Oh yeah.
The only concern is, these ultimates are starting to come back online for Void, and there's really no response for Navy.
At least not yet. You see the classic Sova setup here. A little less classic. I mean, sometimes you have KJ leaning towards B with that Sova, and you have a stack towards A. But in this situation, Navy realizes A is a big weak point for them. And you talked about those ultimates. Taps is immediately going to use them off the info. They don't catch these players out. Tobik's whiffing on the op. They have to fall back. This op is going to be very difficult for them to work with. But look who's there. It's Wow Wolf, the big, the bad, the Wow. They're coming in. And they've got the first frag here as Navy needs to reconsider. It's going to be a very brawl heavy. They break through the Omen teleport. Cosmic to find another. They use the neural theft to give them info. As the A rotate hasn't even started and B site's been taken.
B fully planted upon. Hunter's Fury still available if needed, but for the most part, Navy have just a super solid retake. They need to get going, but KXV finds that kill over towards main. It's gonna shut so much down. Cosmic finds Foxes, and now it's all up to Tobik. He gets taken down as well. Void, they're making sure it's not a 3-0, at least 13-9 on map number 3 of Ascent. And that means, nerds, there was a little bit of pushback here. We're going to map number 4.
If I had a nickel for every time, I would have 1 nickel. You know what I'm talking about, hopefully. If I'd have 1 nickel for every time Navy came back, we're going to map number 4 here. And honestly, I could have expected Navy to come back, but I'm happy that they didn't. It showcases that Void has some legs to stand on, and with an unorthodox comp, it just makes me that much happier because I love unorthodox comps on Ascent. Please play different ones. Go for Loud. Go for Sentinels. Do something wacky. Throw a Yoru in there. And we saw how well Yoru worked out. There was some really big hits and some really big misses. It's kind of that gamble that you normally take when you go with something that's off meta and maybe you've scrimmed, but you haven't really, played out every scenario. all in all, though, very tight game between these two teams.
Yeah, and listen, I don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I know that you really like not the same composition every single time, but I feel like this win is a little misleading, right? Obviously, the comp, worked because they won, but a lot of that came from the kind of MVP performance from Cosmic, right? Like 25 frags from Cosmic. Next highest person on the leaderboard was KXV at 18.
Which is same team. So, like, honestly, it's
Right.
interestingly, it's very much a double Sentinel diff right now where they're just doing so good.
Right. So, like, yeah, the comp was good, but, like, I'm going to put that in quotes. And I would like to see if we're going to see some more unorthodox comps, because next up on our list of 5 maps is your least favorite map, my least favorite map, but I'm still going to be excited for it. It's Bind. It's going to be coming up just after this.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back. We are here with what could be, but isn't locked in to be, the final game of this best of 5 to decide the third team for the series. For this team for Purge Esports. My name is Nerds. I'm here with Ancient Angel, and we're going to be talking about Bind.
Yep. It's officially the back half of this best of 3, or best of 5. Oh my goodness.
Oh, yeah.
I was gonna say. But you do not like Bind. I'm not a fan of Bind. I'm going to try and break this down. So far, what we've seen is a very lurk-heavy style of gameplay from both of these teams, right? We saw it especially on Lotus. We saw Amura do absolutely phenomenally well on the Chamber, which, in all fairness, if you're looking for Chamber gameplay, Bind is the map. We've seen some really solid retakes from both of the teams on the defense, which Bind, not particularly a big retake map. It's one of the harder maps to retake in the game. And overall, what I'm expecting from both of these teams is actually not the meta, right? I'm not expecting the double smokes with the Brim and the Viper, and then like the solo initiator, or even no Sentinel and doing double initiator with the Gecko and the Sky. What I'm expecting from both of these teams is a little bit more like flex into some other agents, right? I wouldn't be surprised if we see an Omen. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Chamber from the side of Navy. I wouldn't be surprised if we see even potentially like a Breach coming out from one of these two teams. I really do think that this map and the comps that are going to be played on this map are very much up in the air. I will be really surprised if we see a mirror match, let alone even one of these teams go on to the quote unquote standard comp.
I'm gonna have to agree, right? Bind is one of those maps that I just like it just because the mid rotate seems very like there's no mid rotate. So for the defensive side, it becomes very difficult. And like you mentioned, the retake potential is very low on that map because there's no mid rotate. And when you do mid rotates, it is generally through the TPs, which I get is the gimmick of the map. But at the same time, it just becomes like, oh, my position is known. So you can't lurk. There's a really difficult level of counterplay there just to kind of defend myself a little bit but
hold on. Whoa. Actually, shut that down real quick. You can't lurk.
What am I getting shut
Bind
down?
is one of the most lurk-heavy maps in
but like
the
lurking,
game right now.
lurking in mid for the retakes and whatnot. There is lurks. I'm not saying that there isn't lurks. I'm just saying like because there's no mid lurk, it becomes sort of like the pinches become difficult. Does that make sense?
No.
No? Okay, never mind. I'm just talking out of air here. I'm out of steam. But hopefully these teams aren't out of steam when we see what they have to.
You can't be, right? Like that's the thing about a best of 5 is you're testing your stamina, right? Coming into this entire series. So, those first two maps, map number 1 went great for Navy, and then map number 2, a little less great. Still able to close things across the line. If map number 3 is telling us a story in terms of persistence and stamina, then this map number 4 is really going to be the test, because I think that if Void can take map 4 in a significantly more convincing fashion than they took map 3, I would actually then start viewing them as the favorites in our last map of the series, which I believe is Sunset. But
I believe Icebox and Abyss were banned out, so it should be Sunset.
So last map would be Sunset, but overall, I'm gonna be a little interested to see, especially what these comps are going to be coming out from both of these teams.
Yeah, I want to see the Chamber because not only the map, but also just because it was replicated. No, wow,
no Chamber, but 2 Cloves.
2 Cloves. Hey, I love them. They are one of my favorite agents, so I'm happy to see it too.
This is actually almost exactly a mirror comp. The only difference is that we have a Sky on the side of Navy and a Gecko on the side of Void. Overall, I think I prefer the Sky to the Gecko. I know you're a Gecko defender, so if you want to try and explain to me why...
I love Gecko.
You try and explain to me why this Gecko...
Wingman is cute. Also, the rechargeable utility can allow for really cool positions, especially playing out of places like hookah and long, and you can have really cool positions and utility like pacing with Gecko, especially on the attacking side, right? To enter in and, you know, get into solid post plant positions. You have wingman plant, and then boom, you get into a good post plant position, make it more difficult to retake. Boom, okay. Gecko.
Well, speaking of positions, this kind of A-site hold that's going to come through. Fox finds the first on the Clove. The pick-me-up not going to go off in time. Toge gets the trade. Tobix, Sheriff, never gets caught out, so takes care of KXV. Finds a second onto Cosmic as well. The player advantage firmly in the hands of Navy as the speed gets started. Wow Wolf just needs to stay alive long enough for the rotates to come in.
The timing is very thin here. They have 2 players for Void. We talked about retakes being difficult, and hopefully they can break through regardless. Toge has been spotted. Mino is going to get taken. Toge's position known as Amura locks it in. And interestingly enough, we see the Sentinel player changing the role to controller Senti vibes here.
Well, I mean, considering that there is no Sentinel for either of these teams, this is kind of the closest thing you're going to get to a Sentinel. So it makes sense for Amura to be on the Viper, right? You're still going to be lurking a lot on this map, right? You're going to constantly be in positions, especially on attack, where you're going to be the only person towards that A side of the map where the rest of the team is working towards B. It makes sense, is essentially the long and the short of it. And the other thing that makes sense is the judge coming out from Amura. But if it doesn't find any value, it's really going to kind of leave the onus of this round up to players like Tobix and Foxes over towards A.
And talk about that rechargeable Gecko utility and the way that it can bounce around. This is why I kind of like Gecko. Oh, because you can like pick that up again. And even though Toge is just going to get spammed through the smoke, which kind of sucks. It's, you know, a Spectre, spam down showers. They have some sheriffs that they bought up in here. But again, to reiterate, Gecko very pog. Very cool.
Yeah. Well, Tobix could be on for at least one more. Does, you know, play off the back of the Prowler there. And oh my goodness, Cosmic is at like 15 HP. That
Prowler caught him.
yeah, it did. It for sure did. And this kind of concern, I guess, coming in from Void, where you have to try and make your presence. You don't really want to rotate off because you don't know what's over towards B, but it's still Wolf and Tobix able to find value here. Foxes as well joining in for the fun. It's 3 on the round for the Clove, and actually 0 guns are lost because Wolf only had a Vandal, so
yeah,
a full bonus.
They picked up all the weaponry here, and it's going to be a buy for the Void squad. I mean, this is going to be, you know, another situation where we see Navy winning out the pistol here. And is that a sign? Like, they win the pistols, they win the games? Because every game that they won the pistol on. And the games that they didn't, they lost both pistols.
Well, and also the one map they didn't, they only lost by 4 rounds. It would be, you know, both pistols and
exactly.
So, you know, not saying anything.
But to kind of say something here, as this is a little bit of a trap here. Tobix on the tap, gonna catch out some of these players. Bam from both sides here, as they have a crossfire set up towards showers. They want these, they're inviting them in almost. Like, hey, there's an orb still here.
The big thing as well that is really going to help out Navy here is the fact that this judge was never heard. So even though Ringer goes down here, Amura has a really nice position, but if
Cosmic's not going to fight it.
Yeah, no. That's really smart from Cosmic. Just doesn't want to push in, doesn't want to give the life away. Amura's still going to be stuck in towards Hookah, but the side hit, it's going to go down.
It's because they know, right? If they give each other up here, they can, you know, get them a gun. And there it is. That gun for Cosmic. The TP comes through for the rotate. Toga hears that they know the position. Spam not going to be found here. Spike gets planted as Toge has to fall back into this position. That bullet's going to get spotted out here. Fox peeks in, and they get it. Tobix to get another here. They want to win the third. They need to show that they are dominant on it. 4 players up. Taps is going to take them down, and they are separated. 31 HP. Pain shells popping in the corner. Fox to peek off of it. 4 for Taps. They need to be clean and surgical with it, but unfortunately, a whiff is going to go in the wrong direction, tap you through as tap falls.
And I think for the most part, I want to give credit there to Amura, right? The just consistent, patient play, never overextending, not trying to go for a hero play, just stays super quiet in hookah, continues to play to live, finds the perfect timing there onto Cosmic, gets the pickup, and then just, again, continues to play the life, buy time for his teammates to lurk in through CT, through Garden. Just such a solid player. And the fact that you're 4-0 right now, you literally haven't died, I think proves that point.
Bam through yet again. That's the orb picked up. Taps is going to be one away from their ultimate. They have a Bucky in hand, so if they can find, just a lucky shot somewhere, the potential is there, but potential isn't reality, at least not yet. It's the big bad wolf falling back there. The player with the rifle here in charge of the situation down towards U-Haul. Nades to pressure these players off as it's going to be a retake. Wolf is found here. That's going to be devastating, though.
Oh, but that's a great pick from Fox. Taps goes down. No showstopper here, and Fox gonna find another as well. So now at this point, it's that 4 versus 3, and the not dead yet could be used, does get used here. And Cosmic gets traded out, so it's a 2 versus 4. Trailblazer gonna spot out KXP. Benno has to try and do the most here, but can't. So there it is. The kills all come through. 3 guns gonna remain alive for the side of Purge Navy. They get up to 4. And at the very least, Void will be able to get another bite.
On top of that, they also have, the showstopper invested, and it's just been defuses. It's interesting. We talked about how, retakes are hard here, but they don't seem to be that difficult. An early time out coming for Void to give them a potential pace change, right? It is going to be around where they are buying up. They had Bucky's and Broken by previously. Going into this, how are they utilizing both the Thrash and the Showstopper? Navy discussing how are they going to counter that?
Yeah, that's going to be kind of what the conversation is for Navy, but for Void, it's really about also kind of ensuring that you have some sort of a lurker. Because the big thing that we're seeing from Void is what I like to call the ranked trap of bind, where oftentimes teams will just 5-man A, 5-man B, try and send 3 through A short, 2 through showers, 2 through hookah, 3 through B long. And the kind of trap that you run into there is the fact that you become very readable, and there is a very easy counterplay that Navy can do there. So how do you fix that? You fix that by starting to implement some lurks, by starting to default out on both sides of the map rather than just one specific site. And so, if you can avoid that trap and you can really start to empower these split pushes, maybe towards both of the extremities, or you just run 4-1s where you have 4 people towards B, 1 person towards A. Like, that's really going to be your way in. But I suppose if you do have some powerful ultimates online, you could find value off of just scaling.
They have a huge chunk of players going down here. There is a little bit of a lurk being brewed with the Viper. So they are, pretending to still have that 4-stack. Tobix is going to immediately take and find Toge, getting out of dodge the initial pick here. There it is. The Thrash invested for Bino to try and clear the site. They get the site clear. Look at the rest of these players. It's going to be, again, Cosmic. And it seems like as soon as they got out of the trap, they fall right back into it. Tobix is on a double already. They have a pain chill in hand. There is Amura to get another out of hookah. And it's going to be like, they wanted to go for this pace change, and it just fell apart.
Oh, the ultimate was played perfectly by Tobix. Benno, 1 HP, back of the site, stunned, seized, everything. Foxes gets to pick you up for free, and then it's a 1 versus 3. Sure, you had the spike down, but not much more after it. Amura closes things out, and it's yet again this Viper that just won't die.
They're giving it to Wolf to charge up that Nightfall. Makes sense. 5-0. A tough spot to be in, especially after coming off of a high of Ascent and being very comfortable and confident going into this. They have a pretty solid comp too. I even favor the Gecko, and we didn't see too much of it. It's
I think
I mean, in my mind, I'm like, what you said was entirely right. And they kind of actually didn't do what you said, where they did still fall into the trap where they had 5 down long. And then what did they do, hookah? Same thing that they did last time. A little bit of a split. We're not seeing the default.
finally we're going to see this default 4-1 coming out. But, I mean, is it, you know, are you in a position where this is really going to matter? Is kind of the real question. Sure, you don't have to contend with a showstopper anymore, so no cheeky picks from Tobix to start the round, but you're in a position where, like, Navy just have really solid protocols set up. And you can see, like, if the best, like currently the aim of the game is to grab the ultimate orb, right? Over towards B long. You don't want to get caught out. It's going to go into the hands of Toge. They're not dead yet online, and they just straight execute out B.
Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing that we've been seeing. Taps is going to use their ultimate here, so at least it's going to push these players out of it. But Amura's going to grab Toga. There it is. They're not dead yet. They're back in the action. Toga looking what fights they can take. It's a brawl. Taps to find Tobix, and now looking at this, a little bit of a boof there. Toga getting taken down yet again for a second one. Ringer to find theirs. Secrets to be popped here for the retake, and the numbers are there. Ringer for the double, you know, to try and stay alive, but the big bad wolf. Wow, wolf, to wrap things up.
I just want to let it be known that Amura still hasn't died, and we are 1 quarter through this game.
Damn.
Yeah. Understatement. I mean, yeah, 8-0.
4 diffuses in a row.
Yeah. 6 rounds. The only ultimate now that Void have to work with is the Nightfall from Purge. It seems like they want to keep trying this 4-1. And honestly, it really does kind of just come off of the positioning from a lot of these players. It feels like Void are constantly having to try and make a hero play. Oh, hold on, wait. Amura.
Oh, okay.
In danger.
Danger? What's up, Danger? I'll be a stranger.
Ooh.
Something like that. Oh, man. I mean, they're defaulting now. I will say, Void is defaulting now. They have that bomb laid back. They have, you know, players just going for these initial fights. Amura, just being the solo player to contest this. So, oh no, there's another. They go for the left, right, but the double's found. Yeah, because Tobix was just holding it. And just the coordination we see on this defensive side is insane.
Listen, I'm a little upset because Amura finally died, but it's okay because the player advantage for Navy is still there. Wolf barrel is spotted, so Cosmic fully aware of this fade sitting in towards lamps, and if Wolf pushes out at all, I mean that's gonna be, you know, the equalizing kill.
Here?
30 seconds left.
There?
Here.
Where?
Oh,
In your hair, man. They're already on ya.
they're everywhere.
And at this point, right, 6-0, the HP being drained by this Viper utility, the spike goes down here for Void, but the numbers are still falling in favor of Navy. They have the Nightfall to invest into this. Immediately, it's going to get popped. Of course it is, because it's going to give them so much space to take these fights. Toge, still though, with the Guardian in hand, the head taps matter. They work out, and 1 player left. They get the double. That's the defuse being stuck, but Cosmic draws them out of the defuse. Wolf to grab it on.
It's off the back of that Nightfall, right? Like you mentioned, Navy putting together another round here. You know, at first it looks like it's doable for Void. It's like a 3 versus 3, 3 versus 4 type of thing. Numbers are super close, and then nope, they play off the Nightfall perfectly. They get those 2 players. Benno gets caught out in short. Clean. And Cosmic not going to be able to win that 1v2. So, you know, still 7 rounds in a row from Navy. They're putting it back on the board. They're looking to try and break the series record for 8 rounds in a row.
Yeah, I mean, And especially because it's been consecutive and also with a donut, it just adds that much more insult to injury. There's that thrash being used. It's gonna pick a player off. Unfortunately, Cosmic's the one to fall though.
Cosmic the first to fall, and KXV.
Sky's out.
Oh, hey, never mind. Taps finds Ringer. Wasn't even aware. I thought that was his teammate.
Not even that. I wasn't thinking about the teammate. I was just like, are they trying to be like trigger discipline? Like, I am Radiant trigger discipline TikTok moment. Like, no, I mean,
No.
you literally can't find another pick. You just get that one. The whip on the shot there from Fox into immediately getting taken down is rough here. And this is where Gecko starts to shine. You get that plant and you get into some post-plant positions. The pop through, Tobik still wins out. Gets on the dodge on low HP Purge. KXV is there to take down Amuro, and now it's still the numbers falling in favor off of a thrifty round here. They win the first. Record yet to be broken.
And you know what? It comes off the back of Void finally running a bit more of a defense, right? You have Apps over towards A, you know, alongside Cosmic at the very start, just trying to, you know, find A space. Apps takes the teleporter to follow Ringer, gets that pick, and that completely opens up the map. Then they can rotate over to A with absolute ease, get the plant down, and scale and win off of just picking up guns.
It's interesting that they did that off a thrifty as well with just sheriffs. And I'm happy that they're continuing it. No, they set nobody down short. They just have Cosmic here. I mean, still pretty good though, all things considered, that they have that momentum. Look at this. Amura is just going to catch a try. Timing finds one. It's going to insert themselves back in. And again, it's just like this split towards B. It seems like they grew and then they fell back. Like, how do they come back from this scenario?
I mean, it would presumably have to be from this Showers lurk or potentially Amura dying, but now that Benno's fallen, the spike is given over, rotations are going to come through. They're going to fully be able to stack here. They don't care that they've given up the B site. You just need to not die. And, you know, sure, I mean, actually, Cosmic could be huge, especially now that KXV has found Ringer. It makes the site significantly more vulnerable.
No, but look who's there.
Yep.
They're running back. Oh, they're from behind. They get caught. Wait, they're caught looking at the minimap. Wolf wins out. Wait, what? And it's done. It's over. I mean, I think we should have called it there for the observer, but like it's not cooked yet because Toge got the double here. But it is definitely going to be rough for them. All things considered, Fox hears it. That's the utility down. You're on low HP. You're on low timing as well. 10 seconds to try and find the two, and you don't grab it.
Yeah, it's just so unfortunate for Void. You think, oh, they've broken it. It was only 7 in a row. Navy isn't able to get 8 rounds in a row. They have a chance. And then just, nope. Navy says, yeah, my bad. We couldn't break the record. We're just going to grab 8-1. That's our scoreline right now. That hurts. And I mean, again, the buy, it's going to be broken from Void. They're kind of returning to the trap of the
Where are they?
5 players hit towards a site.
Yeah. It's like you go to old reliable, but unfortunately it's not reliable, and it's old, but it's definitely not reliable. Tobik is just up on bus, just farming these players right now. Nightfall invested by this attacking side. Void looking to see if they can fiend themselves something, but it's not going to land as Fox and Wolf come hand in hand. The double for their players is good, and they have this ultimate to work off of, but Amura just being the clutch sort of player here. Impact.
Yeah, KXV now 1 versus 2, smoked off in lamps. Both choke points being held. Yeah, no. KXV is, I mean, a rock and a hard place is an understatement.
Where are you?
So,
yep.
Font gonna go through. It's not even gonna spot Amura. So, at this point, KXV, I mean, if you can isolate this fight onto Ringer here, that'd be huge, but best you're gonna be able to get is a dink through the crate. And so now that allows Amura to take the advanced position, get that kill. 9-1. Is the scoreline here. I mean, forget a 4-8. Void need to not get 10-2. Like, Void need 2 rounds.
Yeah.
Or else this is over. The series is over.
Literally I was literally gonna say it's either gonna be 11-1 or 10-2, and unless they start to default, and they're not. I mean, they're not like. The one round that they won was a default when they thrifted, and they played it slow and ramped it up. It's not like, oh, default. It's like you play slow, get the initial pick, and then you ramp it up into a push together. You don't just default and stand where you are. That's not what we're talking about here. And look at this push. It's just insane. Taps gets the double with the trade, but the initial picks fell in favor of Navy. They have the info. They know they're going B.
But the teleport, right? These players are all towards long. So you still have to keep at least one player on that A site part sitting there. It's KXV, not KXV, it's Wolf specifically. KXV is going to be the fade rotating in on that lurk towards short. And
one of the TP.
Yeah, no, these rotations are going every which way. There's two players towards this A side, and Wolf about to catch KXV off guard here.
Oh, wolves and hounds. There is the prowler going out. I like the matching energy here. Fire in the hole as Fox finds one. They shoot it in the wrong direction. They get Wolf, but Fox is going to be the bigger issue. Purge, KXV. What can you do? You want to keep purging your title here, right? You gotta go for a fight, but look who's behind you. It's gonna be the backshot bandit yet again. Amura catching Purge. I don't even know if they knew Purge, KFC was there.
No.
Last round in the half.
That is just tragic.
You know why? Sorry to interrupt. You know, Angel, why I said it was over after that initial fight? Because in the chat, Navy was like, haha, that was fun. And I'm like, oh my god, these guys are they're just having fun right now.
They're just trolling, yeah. No, I mean, Navy has joy and whimsy buff, for sure. They're just, it's very lighthearted for them. And it makes sense, right? Like, they're on a potentially 11-1 tear through the first half. And keep in mind, if they win this map, they stay signed to Purge, right? Void are playing literally for their organization life right now. And
oh, yeah. And look at this.
Oh. Hold on, wait a minute.
Can they continue this fight?
5 versus 3. Tobix, you have to get out of dodge right now, but oh, huge. Off the nade, you take care of Benno at the very least. Numbers become even because Toge wasn't able to find a kill. It's a 3 versus 3. And they're going to teleport to A at the very least. It's going to buy them a little bit of time here.
Mm-hmm. TP comes through. Purge. Come on, Void. You want to have Purge at the start of your name, you gotta try. Not even have better aim. It's just like their aim's been fine. It's just like the mental and the strategy here. Get into these post-plant positions. One towards bench, one out of U-Haul. You have the crossfire set up. Just don't get broken. It's gonna be the first to be found. And it seems like it falls apart here, no?
Foxes still has the not dead yet, so gonna get taken out immediately. Pops that ult. KXV's position is known. 1 versus 3 gets taken out by the Tobix paint shells. 11-1 is what we're sitting at coming at the end of the first half of 5. Void, you would need an unspeakable comeback to try and take us to map number 5.
My notes are just like, I don't even have notes on it. It's just like all X's. Just like X, 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 bum, 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 bum. It's like, okay, what do I write for the rounds? And I mean, they did take a time out between 4 and 5, so I expected some sort of pace change there. And they did try to speed things up, I believe, in that round. Is the only note that I have is that they took a time out and they changed their pace, but it clearly wasn't the end-all be-all for them. Now that they're on this defensive side, considering how much of a hard time they had on this map, it just feels like us in ranked, where it's like we don't, when me and you play this, was like we don't know how to coordinate with the rest of the team on a map like this.
I mean, that's a good start to the pistol, or at least App's able to get that ultimate orb towards B long. Benno jiggles out towards showers. Mura has to back up from short. Doesn't want to give the position away, but I mean, that basically confirms that it's all these players out towards B. Paps sitting here alongside Toge. The decay was good at first, but you're getting spammed out and spotted. Wolf gonna be the one to get that kill, and Paps You have to do so much for your team here. You can find the first, but a second minimum would be needed here. Try and go big.
Man.
Cosmic takes out Fox. At the very least, there's some sort of momentum here. 3 versus 4. The flash good from Ringer just to start to buy some time, but Wolf and Amora just completely mow everything down. It's a 1 versus 1, and the kills, they go the way of Taps. 3 on the round. Void, it's not over. There's still hope, but there's barely anything left in the tank.
It's a Clove ultimate. It's literally a Clove ultimate. It's not dead yet. The hope is still there. I mean, all in all, 11-2 is a beast. You are staring into Charybdis's maw, and you are Odysseus climbing this hill on the waves of this tumultuous sea. It is literally, like you said, monstrous for them to climb it, but the pistol's how you start it. If they can pull a Fnatic, they have to do it now.
Kobik immediately rockets their way in towards showers. There's going to be this A-site hold. 3 players here, KXV and Cosmic, the 2 more defensive edged players. Benno sitting in lamps as well. Okay, the haunt. It's good for 1. You do see Fox
there's
marked
Heather
up.
too. There's Heather on bench too as well to get these players out. Hey, this is where Gecko shines. This is where Gecko shines. KXV gonna pick up another, and I like the compositions that they have. The plant's gone down though for Navy, and they're playing this so well on a potential eco. They're just keeping a lot of really good post-plant positionings here, and even though the bomb gets tapped, these sheriffs are ringing true here. It's gonna be a 1 for 2. What's happening? Taps needs to come back. They have a Vandal in hand. It's Vandals versus Classics, and it's again off the back of Taps to bring things out.
Yeah. Multi-kill from Taps. I think specifically a clutch there. There you go. And it's, again, just Void being in a situation where they're supposed to win that round cleanly, and it's all up to Taps, having to go huge, having to win the 1v1, 1v2, bring things across the board here. The only player on the side of Void right now that is positive.
And I mean, I think you mentioned it. Taps was the only player alive in that. It speaks for itself. They have to buy up. They're on light shields. It's fully Phantoms. I feel like Navy's got the call. They're like, just spray them down. They will literally be on light shields. They should have a weaker buy here. We get the match point. We get 12. And then the 4th round, we'll see how the cookie crumbles.
Hunt goes out. Tobix finds Cosmic. Admittedly, not with a Phantom, with a Vandal. But Benno, next player that has to go huge here. Amura, that's the jiggle. Works perfectly. Takes care of Benno and Purge.
Spike planted.
Which can you find here? Because it can't just be Taps. There needs someone else to step up. Try and take that fight. The util goes out. Seasonade goes through. Fox, not gonna die. Instead, takes care of Toge. And sure, the showstopper is possible. Taps, but no, it's a 1v3
it's gone.
needed.
It's gone. 26-1 HP now. The pain shells are gonna grab Fox, but it shouldn't really matter too much here as Tobik swings. And there's that match point I was discussing. The one thing, not as clean as it was once anticipated, at least by me.
Match point, series point, org point. Oh, this has gotta hurt if you're Void. You need 9 in a row, flawlessly, to get things to overtime.
They gotta break that record, the consecutive ground record.
Yeah, just to win overtime, just to go to map 5. And they don't even have the weaponry. It's just Taps, the only one with a rifle. Everyone else sitting on just a 4 buy. It's gonna be a scuffle out towards long.
Bro, you're fighting an Ender Dragon in leather armor here. Like, unironically. Oh, and look at this, the fight through, and look who's winning. Navy's got the numbers. They have the advantage. Low HP on KXV. They're getting out of there. The TP is almost ready. And look at A-site. It's empty. They're lined up for it. They plant towards A very quickly. Armor is going to grab themselves a quick, cheeky 1 pick on Gecko, and it's over. Gecko needs to win this.
If you asked me what Bind looked like at the very end of Ascent, I would have told you it it would have been an absolutely fierce battle. But in this 3v3, Void looking worse for wear on most of those players, not having the weaponry. Feels not like a roar, but a whimper.
And honestly,
as the showstopper, Cosmic is going to be able to find one, but Wolf there on the trade. Now these last two players with nothing more than a hair's width of HP. The Nightfall goes through just to confirm it. It's Tobix to close out the first, and now Benno could be your last round as a Purge player, and it is. It's Purge Navy to maintain their spot with Purge Esports. They win this series 3-1.
wow. Honestly, I'm not even gonna fault you for that because it was just. I mean, I can't fault them for that. I'm sorry I said you, but I mean Void. I think I'm so frazzled that even I'm messing up my thought process here because my notes are bare bones in comparison to literally every other one of the maps. The only thing I can say is Scrim on Bind. Like realistically, that map is very annoying, very difficult. Our premier team wins on it. I lose every time in ranked, but our premier team actually does pretty fine, and it's literally because we tend to adapt fairly quickly. It's a game of adaptation, so it's like you gotta adapt. I think that's my one note, is that we didn't see Void adapting as fast, and they relied on a lot of like multi-kills from one of their top players, which yes, they set up their top player to get, except for not always. It happened usually in the end in a 1v2, 1v3 scenario, so it wasn't a setup, it was more of just a moment of brilliance, which just is a rough storyline to behold. Like, I don't know what to say.
Yeah, it really was. It just was a dominant, like as dominant as Lotus, if not more. 13-3 was our scoreline there. Like Tobix and Foxes just had an absolute ball. Like they were just having a fun time. 370 ACS from Tobix. And it really does just show like Taps was trying to do the most to keep this team in it, but like you can't just 1v3 every round. It was just impossible. It was an impossible situation, and the thing that hurts a lot is this isn't like a tournament where we're gonna see Void, like Purge Void again. Like technically this team can stay together, and I do think that this team should, but under Purge it's not going to be the case, right? And that it hurts a little bit, but to see the showing that we did from Purge Navy, I mean, listen, that team is solid. And you have to give credit to Tobix. I think Amura and Foxes, all three of them were players that I highlighted at the very start of this series to go very huge, and they did just that. Each of them had a map or had moments where they were just absolutely shining.
I'd have to agree, honestly, just because Amura and Fox both, in my mind, were just on point. I feel like their core, right? Those core three players really have that synergy down where they can have moments of their own brilliance, but they also have really solid coordination on top of just moments of brilliance. And that's really what you want out of a roster. All in all, though, hats off to both teams for playing it out. Even bigger hats off, and the crowns go to Navy as being, the signed team for Purge. But for that, that's going to be us basically wrapping things up. Before we do it, just want to give a huge shout out to the production team in the back, Bonobo as our lovely producer, and Spenix, who is our observer. Huge props to them, and a huge props to you, Ancient Angel, my co-caster, and myself. You got a pat on the back there for casting and having fun with it. With that, I mean, that's the capstone for us. Ancient Angel, you got anything else before we send it off?
Go Valorant.
Woo! Go Valorant. Well, with that, stay safe, stay healthy, have a nice day. Cheers.